Alrighty, hey, good afternoon. So we're gonna get started today. So we've got a pretty fun project lined up. So I just got this new Elgato key light that I'm using to light my face up here. And as it turns out, of course, you can install something like an app or some Windows controller thing to use this, but it actually just has a pretty simple HTTP API too. So the goal of today's stream is going to be to take this light and allow myself to control it via Go using a Go package, and then hopefully integrate it with the Launchpad. So we'll get to the point where we can press a button and it will turn the light on or off, perhaps adjust the settings, etc. So this thing is pretty cool. Let's see here. So if I run, okay, my trackball is so, one sec. My trackball is not cooperating today. I feel like a Q-tip and like just try and like clean the sensors and stuff, but just really, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. Might have to switch to a mouse, I guess we'll see. So hopefully this will cooperate a little better. But hey, happy Memorial Day to the folks in the US. Thanks all for hanging out. Is the battery empty? No, I believe the battery's pretty well charged. It just feels like it's like got more friction than normal for some reason. It's not gliding as well, which is unfortunate. I know that if I clean it with like if I use like an alcohol-based cleaner or something, like the trackball will really be like sticky. Like it will lose all of its like it'll have a lot of friction because there's not as much like smooth like gliding action. Like I think it actually operates best with a little bit of oil on your hands, but I don't know. I just use paper towel. Yeah, maybe I should as well. Yeah, but okay, seems to be working okay. We'll deal with it. So anyway, onto the light. So this light has a pretty simple little HTTP API. So as it turns out, there are a couple of parameters here. We have things like the on and off, which is just like a Boolean, but it's represented as an integer. We have, the brightness level on the scale of 0 to 100, I believe. And we can also set the color temperature as well. I've got my light set up on my IoT network here, port 9123. And then we have this Elgato lights endpoint, and we put it through JQ. So if I run this is just a no-op because these are my current settings. But if I go back and say, for example, do on 0, then it turns the light off, and you all can actually see that as well. Turn it back on, and this thing actually has quite a range. So, oh, notice this morning that the MX Ergo makes an annoying noise while charging. Does yours too? Yeah, I think it actually does. I don't tend to notice because I usually have like music on or Twitch or something, but I think I do hear a little bit of electrical noise with it, which is unfortunate, So this thing has quite a different amount of brightness settings I can set. So if I do brightness 0, it's effectively the same as off. Or if I think the minimum setting on the app is something like 3, which is just barely noticeable. And then if I go to 100, you will see soon. It's actually like blindingly bright. It's like basically sunlight. So don't want that. But roughly level 20 seems to be the right area. And also we can adjust the color temperature so you can make it more warm or cool. So it's interesting. So in the app, if I open this up on my phone, it lists the temperature in Kelvin, but for some reason here, the temperature 268, that doesn't seem to line up with... So if I adjust this on the app, this is more blue, this is more red, right? But these values are in like the 4,000 Kelvin range, so I don't understand where the temperature value is coming from. So that's going to take a little bit of exploring, but that should be fine. Can we just... I think we can query the light for its current status too, if we send it just a GET request instead of all this. Yeah, so the current temperature is 293, apparently, but I don't know how that actually maps to Kelvin. Perhaps there's some easy conversion I'm missing. If anybody knows, that would be great. That would save us a lot of work later, but yeah. Hey, how's it going? So I think today we'll probably start out just by writing some Go code to control this. So what's also, let me show you all something really quick too. This is pretty strange. Where's my scenes? There we go. So if I go to the web page for this thing, 66309123. So you can actually do this to like set up the Wi-Fi network on here, so I can use this to make, for example, my IoT SSID is not advertised. I know that's not really a security thing, but it's more so like I don't want people just to even bother connecting, your typical non-technical user. So you can set these settings here, and you would think this is just like a JSON post, right? But it's not. It is a very strange, like, what is this, AES.js? Yeah, there's some kind of like AES JavaScript thing going on here. It's like trying to like encrypt the traffic it sends for setting the Wi-Fi network. This is a very strange design choice. I don't understand why you'd want to do this. Like, presumably you're using this on a network that's probably fairly locked down anyway. And not to mention the fact that it's regular plain text HTTP, so they could just sniff this payload and then like replay it. So I don't understand the point here, but is what it is. So I think for today we're going to ignore this. This is the, what's it called? Slash Elgato slash Wi-Fi info. Yeah, so you can send Wi-Fi credentials using that endpoint. It's application octet stream, so it's just some kind of binary. And then we have accessory info, which gives us information. So we probably... replaying is not as bad as really leaking. Yeah, that's true, but like I just don't understand the value add of this, I guess. But I guess potentially you could make it connect to somebody else's Wi-Fi network, so... I don't know. The whole thing just seems kind of strange to me. Like, you'd wish they would just use TLS, but of course, this is an IoT device, so what are you going to do? So the endpoints here are accessory info and Wi-Fi info. Where did I get /lights from? I think I was TCP dumping the traffic. Also, oops, I didn't mean to close that window. Darn. So today I have a noise gate and stuff set up on my audio, so the AC is running right now. In theory, you should be able to barely hear it as long as I am not talking, which should be pretty cool. So we're gonna have to re-auth to GitHub, aren't we? Yeah. All right, one sec. What a hassle. Pretty amazing like how this microphone really does a good job like canceling out lots of background noise as well as the OBS filters. So I just got a filter set up at -20 dB. Thank you, Jordan, if you're around, for suggesting that. Seems to work quite well. So where were we at? That link? No. So we're gonna look at flight deck. I don't remember exactly where I found the lights endpoint from. I think I was doing some packet capture off stream. So oh, wait, can you repeat? What's the trick? So I have a noise filter set up on my mic. So if you go to the microphone device in OBS in your audio mixer, you go to, what is it? Properties? No, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to... Oh, sorry, let me, one sec. Okay, so this is the scene where I can actually see my device. So if I right-click on the microphone, go to... What is it? No, I'm wrong. So go to the audio mixer. So if you go to the audio mixer for your input, you click on filters. You can actually apply a noise suppression filter. So I have noise suppression set up for -20 dB. But you can also do, there's things like noise gates. There's a lot of other features. The only filter I have set up right now is the noise suppression. So that's what I'm starting with. But in theory, you all shouldn't be able to hear any of the noise behind me, which is great because it's really annoying from my perspective. Cool. So let's start writing a Go package for this. And I think for the time being, we're going to do this within the context of the launch or the flight deck project, because I would rather not create a new repo immediately until I have working code and we can actually plug it into the Launchpad. But you also have a noise gate on, right? No, I do not. So if there's any kind of noise gating going on, it's my microphone doing magic, probably, or OBS built in. Hey, No Cherish, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. We just crossed 200 followers as of just before the stream, which is very cool. So thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate that. So we will have emotes soon. I submitted some pretty silly stuff to Twitch for approval, so we're going to have some emotes coming up, and we'll have nicer ones. I don't know when. It'll be a while, probably. My friend is kind of busy, but we'll see. Is there a good link for how to set the noise filters up? Yeah, I don't know yet. Asking the chat mostly. That's okay. Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't played with it a whole lot. I've just done a little bit of stuff before stream today to see what I could do. So let's create a new package, I think. Keylight. Doc.go. Hey, Lego Tux, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for hanging out. Package Keylight. Package Keylight allows control of Elgato key light devices. Perfect. Am I going to call this a client? I mean, probably. Maybe there's going to be a device type too. Ooh, excuse me. Package key light. I want to check out one more thing really quick, the accessory info endpoint. So I think that's actually how you determine what the accessory supports. So you'll see here the feature is lights. We got serial number of the device, etc. I don't really care about showing this stuff off on stream. I guess it's probably fine. But features lights, I guess this would indicate that Elgato has something similar for their other devices, although I'm not exactly sure what all they make. So we're just going to focus on the key light exclusively. So type device struct. So we'll probably want to list all of this information. This will be like the accessory info endpoint. It is worth noting, I think these things allow for MDNS discovery. I haven't actually played with that yet. I just found it via the IP address. So we'll probably do the MDNS discovery thing at some point, or maybe off stream. I don't know. Haven't decided. Oh, hey, something else pretty cool. So one more time getting off topic. So look what just showed up in the mail. So this is my Mikrotik, I don't know. 10 gigabit switch. So this has a 1 gig RJ45 uplink and 4 10 gigabit SFP plus ports. This is pretty cool. I don't actually have the SFP modules. They're going to arrive on Thursday. So I will set this up, but this is what we were configuring on stream yesterday for NixOS. So I'm really excited about this. It's going to be fun. It can also be powered with PoE, which is great because I have a switch in here that's PoE capable, so I don't have to run another cable for this, which is awesome. Yeah, okay. So back to the project. So I guess first we can implement the accessory info endpoint. So let's see here. We're probably going to want a device. We're going to want a client because the client is the type that's actually going to do the HTTP communication. I usually like to make the method dial, like mirroring what the standard library would do. So func dial address string will create a client and an error. And I guess it's probably good if we think about context support too, right? So what's available to us? Golang net. I'm actually streaming today with some like video game soundtrack music in my headphones. I don't want to do it on stream because I want people to listen to what they want to listen to. So I'm doing it for me just as a means to keep myself entertained, but it might end up being too distracting. I don't know. Because I'm like trying to talk over the music a little bit and my mind just doesn't necessarily work that way. So I guess we'll see. So we want probably dial context, right? Yeah, dial context. I think it's probably reasonable. I've been considering that too. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of nice, like if you have like some non-distracting music, but the thing is that the viewer then cannot decide if they want to listen to just you or you and your music. So I don't know. Perhaps what we could do is we could come up with like a stream playlist or something and like share it so everybody can listen to it separately if they would like. What was that service called? Like Turntable FM or RDO or something like that? Oh, it would be just for me. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I've just got the PC output muted. But I actually did do an experiment earlier, so now I can stream to Twitch with music, but the local recording will not have it, so I don't have to worry about it for YouTube. So, yes. So we're going to want a dial context, I think. I think in these days it's probably pretty reasonable to assume that dial context is the same way. Thank you for the lack of music. Yeah, no problem. As mentioned, I'm really torn on it, right? Like, I think it's kind of cool, but at the same time, like, the fact that viewers can listen to whatever they want instead of right now the Fire Emblem Three Houses original soundtrack is nice. I've really been stuck on the Persona 5 soundtrack too, so I just played through Persona 5 Royal for the first time. I actually had not played the original. My friends told me you need to play this game, and I was like, whatever. And then when I heard Royal's coming out, it's like, okay, maybe I'll finally get around to it. And that is an awesome game. So if you like JRPGs, Persona 5 Royal is... It took me 150 hours for the first playthrough, and I have zero regrets. So, would recommend. TCP, let's see here. So this is going to be a netcon, right? Oh, no, this is an HTTP API. We don't want this. We want HTTP instead. I'm silly. For some reason, I think I was thinking of like the, I have this device called an HD Home Run that I was using as like my network TV tuner for a while, and the HD Home Run has a TCP protocol, so this project is kind of similar, so I had that in mind. But we actually want a HTTP client, and we can make requests with the context. Right, okay. So instead of dial, we will have new client. And this will take an HTTP, what's that type? Transport, probably? Sorry. Let's bump the size up on this. So Type client. Okay. So I do not believe in using the global methods or clients or etc. You should always make it configurable. Let your caller do whatever they need to do. So that is my philosophy. So we can accept a transport. I think the HTTP transport type is probably what we want, like versus accepting a round tripper. So, and we'll also want to do things like setting a timeout. But actually, I guess we can allow the caller to set their own client, right? And if we don't, then we configure one for them. I think we'll do that instead. Oops. C is an HTTP client. Given an HTTP client, if it was nil, we will configure one with sane defaults. So, timeout 2 seconds, sure. What else is in here? Transport, we're going to leave that alone. Check redirect, jar, timeout. Okay, that seems fine. And this probably won't need to return an error, will it? C is an HTTP client. C is C. And I guess the first thing we're going to want to do is... Actually, do we want to... So, if we have a client here, we probably don't want to have to pass the address of the device and everything, so we probably want to pass the address as well. So, address string. Actually... Hey, Mave on Air, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's do a URL, because this way we can do some nicer manipulation of it. So this actually would return an error then, because we have to parse the URL. ObserverBot1, thank you for the follow. Oh, I see I've got some view bots in the stream. So if you're a view bot, could you just go ahead and do some beeps and boops in the chat? I need to know how many real viewers I have. Right, so... Yep. Hey, Flo, welcome. Beep. I always knew Dominic was a robot. He never sleeps. He's always working on a static check. So I think we're probably just going to have this be the JSON structure, right? Like, I don't see anything particularly egregious about the way this is laid out. So... Hardware board type 53. That doesn't mean anything to me. Maybe that's some kind of internal identifier. I think the firmware build number is probably useful. So firmware build number int JSON number firmware version capital F. So if you create one of these ghost structs and you don't actually have the fields all exported and you're doing JSON unmarshalling, it will not work because the reflect package requires the field to be exported to work. So need to adjust my keyboard tray a little bit. Okay, firmware version semver. What's also cool about this is we can write like an Elgato key light exporter eventually. So for example, I can have it so that I know when my light is on. I can get an alert if my light is left on for more than 3 hours or something, you know. That would be nice. Serial number. Oops. I feel like my fingers are uncoordinated today. It's really weird. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's this cup of coffee. I'm drinking some more cold brew, or actually iced coffee today, but it's iced cold brew, so it's good. Oh, what's happening on Twitter? Hey, retweets. Nice. So for folks who are here in the stream, how are you finding out about these streams? Are you doing the Twitch notification, Twitter, Gopher, Slack, etc.? I'm curious. I'm curious to know what works best because I'm trying to advertise in a variety of places, but ultimately I don't want to be annoying, but I don't know. Shameless self-promotion, right? Display name. It has none. Interesting. Maybe I can name it in the app or something. Reddit on Twitter. Excellent. Okay. Twitter hashtag Golang. Nice. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's you know, it's kind of funny because hashtags. It's kind of funny with hashtags, because like some people claim they don't work at all. Twitter, excellent. But the thing is like I always hashtag everything, and I've actually found quite a few folks through hashtags and stuff. So in my opinion, that works. Okay, so when I see variable names like CU, temp, etc., I've to puke. So I understand what you mean, but the thing is that these are all used in such small scopes. I don't really care that much. Or if they're used like within like the struct, like if it's something I'm going to be referring to a lot, I'm not that. You may want to see a doctor about your acid reflux. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about such things. If this function were 50 lines long, I would not use these variable names. But for a function that is, you know, 15 lines long, I'm not too worried about it. Features. Now, it just says lights. Is that really useful? I don't think so, because we're assuming that anything we talk to here is a keyed light. It is possible, as mentioned, that this other Elgato devices use something like this as well. I don't actually know. I don't own any other ones, so. Okay. So given a client, we want to be able to fetch the accessory info, yeah? So I feel like these methods probably should all accept context, so that way the request can be made with a context and canceled. It's a little more verbose, but I think that that's kind of a good, like the good citizen thing to do these days, right? Device error. So we're going to create a new HTTP request. And actually, I learned recently there is the new API, so HTTP new request with context. That was a new find for me. I had no idea this existed. I think it was added in 1.13. Shoot. Request with. Deprecated. Yeah, 1.13. Yeah, back at it. I'm not going to post anything, so null body. Oh, let's see here. So we're going to want to probably abstract this away, but we want to take it so that we have a new copy of the URL, and then, so u : star u, u path equals / Elgato accessory info, and then we pass the string. Get, right? Yeah, U is a tricky one to improve. Can't make it URL or you shadow the URL package. Exactly, that's why I don't do that. But longer than URL is also too much detail for the name. Yeah, I tend to follow the rules that Go return types are so weird. Yeah. C could be CL just as well. It depends on preference. Yeah, I tend to have like a set of variable names I use for things, like kind of by default. But hey, GMCE, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So now we want to take the request and perform it. I guess in this case, we're going to have request and response. We'll do rec and res. Get wrecked, right? Do the request. If the, let's see here, I assume this returns to 200, right? Yep, 200 application JSON UTF-8. Interesting. So it's worth noting when you're writing Go HTTP clients, the Go library does not treat a non-200 as an error. So that's up to you. So in this case, we want to return an error in that case. But I don't actually know the circumstances in which this would fail. I mean, maybe just like a 404, right? But yeah. HTTP %D. Okay. I think we're actually going to break this out into another method because we're going to have a couple of different calls here. So we can, let's see here, meth. What do I usually call this? It's actually been a while since I wrote an HTTP client. Request, do. I kind of like do. That's fine. So we take a context, we take a method, and a path. And the path is going to be the HTTP path. Will status code be set on a timeout? No. So a timeout would actually result in the error returning here. So in this case, the caller will be able to see this and infer that it was a timeout. So we can test for that too. Or we can write a test for that later on. Let's move this out. Oh, I usually pass in context, but actually not sure what it does to do. Oh yeah, so the context is actually... Contexts are used for lots of different things, primarily for cancellation in my mind. So anything that accepts a context should be prepared to like perhaps cancel a network request. So if you realize that the work you're doing is not helpful anymore, you can just go ahead and cancel the request. So the standard library supports that plumbing. I like to plumb it into my libraries as many places as possible because in these projects, we actually have it so that package main will listen for signals. So whenever a signal is sent, it will cancel the main context and that will propagate all the way down the tree. See, I do. It already gets messy. See, I don't really think so, right? I mean, like, I don't think that's that bad. Like, I think that, you know, the client's client, your client type's HTTP client has a method called do. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I just prefer to unexport stuff where possible, and I think that calling it HTTP client is unnecessary. I don't disagree, but I think in this particular case, this client will be simple enough where it doesn't really matter that much. Don't get me wrong, if we had like 12 or 15 fields in here, I would change my mind. Yeah, fair. But I think for the time being, I'm not bothered by this, so I'm gonna stick with it. So we want the ability to, we don't really care about posting stuff to it. We want the ability to unmarshal JSON. So what we're gonna do here is out interface, and if out is not equal to nil, we will unpack the JSON. And such a small package is fine indeed. Yeah, totally. Don't get me wrong. Like if this were, you know, 10,000 lines of code, I would be a lot more on top of that. But why Michael is not joining pair programming? Yeah, we'll do another pair programming stream at some point. But also, I think we both have projects we want to work on ourselves or just do our own thing. So, yeah, it's good. It's good to do, you know, do a little bit of everything, right? Keep it fresh. So. If out is not equal to nil, we are going to unpack the body. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. So if out is equal to nil, then there was nothing to unpack, so we're going to return. So now none of these return errors anymore. It returns a... Should do another pairing session soon. We'll look into set tweaks before then. Yeah, sounds good. So what we have here, the pattern I'm kind of making is so you can pass a structure that will be populated by this helper. So the way this is going to be used is something like, oh, var d is a device. We see do the context HTTP method get Elgato accessory info. So now this is going to be this, the client's base URL, and the address of the device. And what this allows us to do is populate this structure in a nice, concise way. So, nil error. So roughly something like that. Now we need to unpack the JSON. So, I guess we should probably check the content type as well. But actually, interestingly here, it looks like the content type is not set. Or it is set even for 404s. That's strange. So I guess that header is not as useful for us. Return nil, because we're going to unmarshal the JSON body. So if error JSON decoder the body, which we're already deferring closing because we're a client, so we have to do that. Out, because the color already had to pass us a pointer, so we are not taking a pointer to that. Error. So roughly something like this. And I think we're at the point where we want to create like a little test command or something, or like a... Yeah, I think we'll probably do that. Where do we want to put this? Or actually, I guess we could hook it up with an HTTP server. That'd probably be good, too. Okay, key light control. This will probably be factored out into its own package, but for now. Shoot. Key light lives at this address. And we will use the default client because we don't really care. Failed to create client. What is the benefit of providing out interfaces reference to get the data when rather than expect a return value? Because this way the color passes in the type that they want populated. So we can pass in multiple different structures. So we have the accessory info structure here versus the structure that controls the lights. So this way it's up to the color to pass in the structure they want populated. So it's just a little cleaner this way versus having to do like type assertions and stuff. Because we are telling the do method the shape of the JSON that we expect, basically. Yeah, no problem. Fetch accessory info. Shoot. Okay. Let's run it. There we go. So you'll see it works. Yay. So now it's really easy to add more methods. So we can do things like adding methods for the, what do you call it? To actually turn the light on and off and stuff. So we can do that next. But I think we're probably at the point where we should write some tests too. And documentation, that matters too. The client can control Elgato key light devices. Key light. New client creates a client for the key light specified by header. If C is nil, a default HTTP client will be configured. And since it's one struct field, I kind of like to do inline like that too. Accessory info fetches information about a key light device. I don't think I needed that coffee. I'm like sitting here like jittering. Yep. Do performs an HTTP request with the input parameters, optionally unmarshalling a JSON body into out if out is not nil. Oh, so somebody told me the other day. Wow, I'm really jittery. Somebody told me the other day. So what is it? Alt Q? Yeah. Somebody showed me an extension for VS Code that lets you rewrap comments, which is great because I am a I'm an 80 line purist. I know that's kind of silly in the day of 4K monitors, but I really like it because I can have multiple panes of code open side by side. So this is called, what is it? No, Rainbow Rackets. Where is it? Oh, it's okay. Scroll down. Rewrap. So this rewrap extension by STKB for VS Code seems to work pretty well. So you just install it, you press Alt Q, it reflows all of your comments. Nice. I like it. So actually, I guess I could start writing comments all as one line instead of separating manually. So maybe I'll start doing that. Make a copy of CU before manipulating the path to avoid modifying the base URL. Body is always nil because we do. Actually, no, body will not always be nil because we need to actually send a structure to this too. So this is going to need an input and an output. Fun. So body is an IO reader. So body will be nil for the accessory info endpoint, but it will not be nil for the lights endpoint, because the lights endpoint is what controls things like the color and temperature and such. So yeah, I think the rest of this is pretty straightforward, actually. We'll move this up above where it's used. A device contains metadata about an Elgato key light device. And so sound like audio engineering blows my mind, right? Because this AC behind me is crazy loud. It's in the closet right back there, which is unfortunate. But you can't even hear it on stream as far as I can tell, at least according to my test earlier. So if something is too noisy or loud, let me know. But as far as I can tell, I've got things dialed in pretty well, and I'm very, very happy about that. Because it drives me nuts. It's one of the worst things about living here, for sure. If it's any consolation, we can hear it. Interesting. So when I'm talking or not when I'm talking? In multi-process environment, will new client invoke several times? So probably not. I think that probably the way you're going to want to use this is you'll create one client per device and then pass that client around. So if you have one key light, it's pumping. When you talk, we can hear it. When you don't talk, it's silent. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So I probably still need to do some more work. Yeah, that's the sound it makes. It's okay. Just turned off. It's unfortunate. I will look into the noise gate. That's a good idea. So my apologies. I'll keep working on it, especially since it's summertime here and it's going to get hotter and hotter outside. So. All right. I'm going to refill on water. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Switch to the standing desk. Oh, get the chair out of there. No visual distractions. Oh, okay. Dominic says, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to play with it. I apologize. I'll do my best. It's just unfortunate that my office is right next to the AC, but this is the only room in the house where it was really viable. So what are you gonna do? Right. So we have working code. Now we need to be able to pass a body and create another method. I think probably we'll start testing this first. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, reflow the comments, right? That's not working. Why? There we go. Does anybody have any questions so far on this? It's off now anyway. Yes, it's not that loud on stream. That's good to hear. Yeah, I think the mic does a pretty good job of canceling that sort of thing out. I'm really trying to dial in my audio settings and stuff. Like, I've got it to the point where I'm trying not to clip or anything. So with any luck, hopefully it'll be pretty good. So we need to write some tests. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. So first, I guess I should probably run things like static check and vet and etc. Go vet. You could spend weeks researching audio. Yeah, that's true. Hello? No, test files. Okay, that was strange. Anyway. Device test.go, package, keylight, test. I like testing from the exported API. I think that that's generally more helpful. So, unless you've got some very, very complicated internal logic, in which case I will do both. So, let's go full screen. So, we're going to use a pattern here that I like a lot for testing HTTP services using net HTTP test, which is something I use a lot for other networking packages too, but for HTTP especially, it's much easier. Wow. HTTP is hard to say when you've had a lot of coffee. I did not need that second cup. Oops. Let's see here. So func test client. So we're going to create a client that's pointed at a synthetic server that we're going to create as well. So testing T and a handler. So HTTP, no, a function that takes a response writer and a request. So this is now an HTTP handler function, and it will return a keylight client and nothing else actually, because now we can use T cleanup because we're using Go 114. That's not what I wanted. So T cleanup, we're going to have a cleanup function for sure. So the first thing we do is we create an HTTP test server. So serve : HTTP test dot new server, right? This takes a HTTP handler func of fn. We need to capture its URL. We need to close it. So serve close, right? Yep. So when the test finishes running, we will close it automatically, which is nice. So typically what I would do before is I would return like a done closure, like this function, and allow the caller to call it. But now with Go 114, you don't have to. So it's actually really nice. Test client. We can pretty much just have one test. This is going to be a pretty easy package, all things considered. So what else do we want to do here? I guess we could actually enforce some invariants. So we can create a little bit of a middleware type setup here. FNWR, right? Header set. Let's imitate what the keylight does, right? So the headers it's passing us are things like the content type, content length. So at the very least we can pass this. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. When will test client be invoked? So test client is going to be invoked in every invocation of a subtest here. So for each of these subtests, we are going to basically spin up a brand new client server. So there is no shared state between tests. And I like this approach because it makes it so things can be run in parallel and also be very isolated. So I think in this particular case, I'm not going to bother parallelizing these tests because they'll be so fast, but it means that there is no shared state. So it's really nice. But the way it's going to look is something like this. TTFN, and then we'll work on that later, but should be handler func, right? Yeah. Can this just be HTTP handler func? I see, thanks. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. I am always happy to answer questions from chat, so please feel free. The thing is that I have no idea what the experience level is of folks, right? I've actually had more folks than I expected popping into my stream from other programming languages, like they're a C programmer or a JavaScript programmer, and they've never seen Go before, and they're just curious. So I'm always very happy to answer questions. Not a problem at all. Why is this not formatting? Am I missing some parentheses somewhere? Let's go spin up the old watch loop over here. 54. Missing a bracket? No. Missing that. There we go. Okay. Not enough arguments, right? So this is connection type. Yeah, content type. Right. So we'll pass the JSON header. I don't know if we necessarily care about inspecting it because everything seems to return JSON, but we'll see. So now that we have this server, we need to point our client at it. We create a synthetic client. So CAir : equals keylight new client, because we are outside the scope of the package. I guess I could potentially call that function keylight new, but I feel like that gets ambiguous sometimes in packages with multiple types, but maybe it's fine because this is probably going to be the one constructor in the package. So we'll think about it. So we pass the URL of the server, and we're going to pass a nil HTTP client, just taking the defaults is fine. Failed to create keylight client. Return C. Yep. Okay, so now we do C accessory info. And I think for all these, we should probably have a context that has some kind of timeout. Context with timeout. Text background. 1 second. Sure. Seems good. 37. Am I missing a parenthesis? Hello? 41. Okay. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I had too many parentheses. So this returns a device. Other endpoints will return different types. I guess maybe we're going to want to break this out by the return type, just to avoid confusion, but I guess we'll see. So for now, failed to get accessory, or failed to fetch device. Print line D. Okay. Cancel declared. Yep. So defer cancel. Hey, the AC is back. Fun. Okay, so failed to fetch device EOF. We have a panic because there is no HTTP handler function. Right. Cool. So I think I can close this and make us a little bit more room. Can make this pane smaller. So what we have is this. So I guess it's probably, maybe it's worth testing if the device doesn't return a response at all. So if ttfn is not equal to nil, then we will invoke this. Is this just going to return an empty body, though? Actually, I think it will. So what's going to happen now? fn is not equals nil. Failed to fetch device EOF. Yep, so that means there was no body passed, so that's exactly the kind of error we'd want to check for. So I suppose what we could do here is look at the individual. We probably want to try and exacerbate some of these conditions, things like timeouts and wrong status and etc. Verify we handle that properly. Right? I mean, so I guess this will be kind of like a low-level test function. This will be, should we, we want to do this? I mean, I guess it's probably good to verify that our client is handling all these cases correctly, but a lot of it is handled by things like the HTTP library as well. So I can't decide. There comes a point where you realize, like, you have to test, like, your own code, of course, but is it really worth testing some of the behaviors of the standard library? I don't know. Let's create, well, I guess first we can do something easy. So, HTTP 404. Let's say, for example, you're querying some device that's not a keylight, right? Actually, can I do HTTP not found? Would that work? Does that work? I think it does. That's pretty cool. Hey, that's very cool. Sweet. So we can say that, you know, given an HTTP not found. Oh, can't give advice. I never test HTTP calls. More like don't know how. Well, hey, you were in for the perfect stream then. So I think this is a pretty good way to test HTTP clients. So I guess if you're interested, you know, why not? Let's do it the right way. So I think probably what we're going to do is we're going to test this from inside the scope of the package at first. So we will test the low-level methods and then do a couple of other higher-level ones as well. So now we're calling cdo with a variety of input parameters. Well, I guess we don't really need to. We can kind of test things. We can still test things using the exported API, and it's still going to be pretty easy that way. Let's stick with the exported API for now. I think we can generally... Nope, shoot. I think we can generally test most of what we need to. Test client... do. So we'll just assume that we don't care about the contents of the test. I mean, because if you think about it, right, this accessory info is like such a short wrapper over the do function that we can actually get at a lot of these behaviors anyway. And we're not actually wrapping up very much, so... I guess we could test all the error cases here. So this could be test client errors, right? So HTTP not found, we expect to return an error. So we are testing against the exported API for conciseness, but ultimately this test only really cares about various error conditions. So we will ignore the device return value entirely and Alt-Q. Beautiful. I love that. That saves me so much effort because I always spend so much time like reflowing text. So this test we're going to verify against the... So given a handler, we want to check for a certain error. TT error against the error. So unexpected error. You bound Alt-Q as a default. That is the default binding. I don't think I changed it at all. And that actually happens to be pretty easy on the Kinesis because the Alt is right on the thumb pad as well. So I'll keep it that way, I think. Perfect. So now we actually need to start like unpacking these errors. So I guess probably what we're going to want instead is a function that tests the error contents. Beth's person who wrote that script comes from Emacs where Alt-Q, MQ is fill paragraph. Yeah, possibly. Testing T. So I think what we're going to do instead of just checking the actual error output, because that'll get tricky, we're going to check for properties of the error. So TT check error. T error. So we're passing in the testing T because we want to capture the T from the subtest and not the top level test, because otherwise we would close over the top level T in our checks up here, which would not be great. So anyone else bind insert cursor to end of lines and selection? Got used to it in text main. I guess I'm not familiar. One sec. Okay, so every time we have a function here, we want to be able to check for something. So we would expect that if there is no check function, the error is nil. So if error not equals nil and check no. Oh. One sec. I'm surprised using the default HTTP client. I am not. I am creating my own. I refuse to use the default. No global state. No global state. Say it with me. Man, I'm so disappointed. So I've got this, this switch here sitting on my desk tempting me, and I don't have the SFP module, so no 10 gig for me today. Stinks. No fun. So the logic I want here is that if the error is nil, there should be no check function, right? So if error equals nil and tt.check is not equal to nil, an error was expected, but none occurred. And then if error is not equal to nil, we're going to invoke check, which will panic, so that's fine. So I want to check here for... So we're not actually creating like any concrete error types here, and this HTTP status code thing is not an error. So I think probably what I will do is... I'm probably going to do a substring check, and I know that stinks, but I think that's probably okay here. If the string does not contain, strings contains t, no, error. Believe me, I don't like this either, but the thing is I don't really want to create an error struct type for this. Like, it seems unnecessary. I guess I could, but the thing is that this library, in theory, should never return anything other than 200. So I don't even know what conditions you'd have to trigger in order to make the light, like, display a 500. So HTTP 404. I feel like this is probably fine. Like, it kind of stinks, but... Error text did not contain HTTP 404. 502 bad gateway? Yeah, maybe. I guess the thing is like, if I had this behind a reverse proxy, yes, but I don't. I'm connecting directly to the device in case the server is not running. So I think that if the light is on, the web server is running, but if the light is off, like if I were to flip the switch off, I actually can't reach it right now because it's so high up behind my standing desk. But if the switch was off, I think that it just won't respond to like any requests. Like you'll get like a ICMP like no route to host or something like that. %v error. Yep. 39. Yes, of course. You know, it's so funny, like that trailing comma thing bites me all the time, but ultimately I am so thankful that Go enforces trailing commas because it's so annoying in other languages where you can't have them. So, cool. So as far as test coverage so far, we should have... Ta-da! You'll see we're checking the HTTP status code. So that's good. "90% of my handwritten JSON is invalid because I have a trailing comma." Yes, mine too. My shortcut turns a selection into multi-line edit with cursor in end of each line. Either this or Control D. Interesting. Okay. Is Control D VS Code shortcut? So let me pull up my cheat sheet really quick. There's still so many things I don't know. You know, I'm doing my best, but it's like the thing is that I tend to not need a lot of these things very often, so I just forget, you know. I don't see it on here in a quick glance, at least. It's valid in JSON, thank goodness. Yeah. JSON does seem pretty cool. It seems complicated, though. No kidding. VS Code Control D takes the current word and finds the next occurrence, and you can multi-cursor edit. No kidding. Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea. Nice. So, yeah, so hang on a sec. So if I were to do like Control D, oh, that's not quite what I wanted, but can you do it with like entire snippets? Sweet, okay. That's pretty cool. Use it all the time for swapping quotes. Okay, nice. Thank you for teaching me. Today I learned. Welcome to twitch.tv/MDLayer, where we learn how to use an editor. Let's, there we go. I'll sometimes use like a tmux split so we can keep things up there for you all, like above my photo. Multi-cursor is nice. Too bad Vim doesn't work with it. Yeah, maybe you should use an editor made in this century. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Actually, was Vim made in like the 2000s? I don't even know. Hey, Katsu. Katsu isn't like Katsu curry. Nice. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Last time it was Michael learning VS Code. Yes, true. But I think Michael only knows a little bit less about VS Code than me. Vim can do multi-line edits though. Okay. So Vim's first release was in 91, you heathen. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I knew VI was ancient. I did not know how old Vim was. Let's see here. I use Visual Studio Code, but Vim mode, it doesn't work with multi-cursor. Oh, that's sad. Nice. This Fire Emblem soundtrack is pretty sick. No offense, but GoLand is the best. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I know GoLand and JetBrains in general makes very high quality products. I think my problem is I want to use all open source software whenever possible. I've never tried GoLand. I have nothing against it, but I have found that VS Code is quite a good experience, and I just don't really have the interest in, having to either pay for an editor or use closed source software. So that's just me. It's not a strong stance, but I think that's just my preference. That's all. But it's fine. Still has static edit. No kidding. So Dominic is writing an editor. Oh boy, fun. Look what you started, man. An editor war. All right. Well, I guess we're done streaming for the day. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Let's add some more test cases before I get distracted. The only thing that GoLand has against VS Code is Git integration. So, see, I never even use the Git integration in VS Code. Like, I know that's like a thing you can use. I just never even use it. Let's test a timeout. So let's set a very short delay here so we don't hang things up longer than necessary. Ah. I cannot cursor to save my life today. I feel like my keyboard tray is like in a different position than normal and it's driving me nuts. Ah. Timeout. So we will have a handler that func. Hey, nice. So this is going to sleep and then do something silly. So this is, of course not what you'd want to do, but actually, what happens if I cancel the... How does the context thing work with HTTP server? I don't even remember. Oh, Git is terrible in VS Code. Can't get used to it. I'm coming from IntelliJ Java before coming to Go. Gotcha. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if GoLand had really nice support for that. I mean, it's definitely like the tool's been around for a lot longer, right? What was I looking at? You've all got me so distracted. I think I want the request context. Type. So what I would expect here is the context to be canceled when the client's connection closes. So I think we can actually check this context and verify that it was closed. Yeah? I think that's the same thing to do. Nice little discussion going on in the chat about different editors and diffing tools. So it's so funny. I used to work at this company. They made us use this tool called Beyond Compare for Windows, and I never really liked it. Like, I didn't see the advantage over like a Git diff, to be honest. But I don't know. We want to make time elapse so that the request definitely is canceled. Context is the hackiest thing I found in Go. So yeah, I think that's a fair statement. It's unfortunate that context wasn't introduced until like Go 1.7 because it's been bolted onto the standard library. I hope that when we get to version 2 of some of the standard library modules, we will have better context support. I don't disagree with you. I think it's awkward, but Excuse me. It works pretty well. I'm going to refill one more time. I'll be back. All right, we are back. Oh, we got some context conversations going on here. Better context. I see what you did there. My hope is for IO U-ring and cancel IO. Yes, I agree. Any other usage other than canceling request? Looks like there's a conversation in the chat about... Oh, hey, Dimitri, thank you so much for following. Appreciate it. Good to see you here. Let's see here. So we got a conversation going on about whether or not it's okay to pass things in context, like database handlers and such. My personal opinion is no. I think it makes things more opaque. You have to do things like typecasting, as people in chat have mentioned. I think the only acceptable value to put in a context is something like a distributed tracing ID. But that's my personal opinion. But it looks like we've already got some good arguments going, so I'm not gonna jump in. I'll let my chat fight that out. Excellent. A context deadline exceeded. That's exactly what I expected. So... let's see here. Context deadline exceeded. Cancelable IO is interesting. Totally doesn't flow well with channels. Yes, it's interesting. I think that there could be a lot of room for improvement as far as like cancelable IO for sure. I've used a couple of patterns in some of my packages where I will spin up an extra Go routine and have that listen on the context, and then when the context is canceled, it will set a deadline of like Unix time 1, so like 1970, and that will immediately cancel the connection as well. But you have to do that yourself. Like, it's not plumbed into the standard library. So thanks for clearing. There's tutorials about this, but I don't know which one is a better way. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that in Go, we value simplicity. We value trying to keep things as straightforward as possible, and I think that hiding some of your dependencies in like the context kind of fights against that, right? So that would be my thought on the matter. I've been using GitGo for tests in this new project. That's going to be a no from me. I think it's interesting. I respect like RSpec and that entire style of testing. I don't think it meshes well with Go. And you also have to use the dot import, which is just doesn't make me happy, you know. I think that the standard library testing package is quite sufficient, but that's just me. Unexpected error, right? Get HTTP. Oh, can you unwrap that actually? Hang on a sec. I wonder if this is unwrappable now with Go 1.14. Errors unwrap error. Yeah, it did. That's so sweet. Okay, cool. So instead of doing a diff here, that's actually kind of silly. So if not errors is context canceled. Expected context canceled, but got %v. Beautiful. That's good code. Oh, wait, what? I thought this would unwrap the error. Is this HTTP error not unwrappable? One sec. URL error. That seems weird. That should be unwrappable though. I come from a Python background, used to monkey patch. Is it necessary to mock everything in Go? I don't think so. I think as much as possible you should test with the real things. So for example here, you'll notice I'm not mocking out the HTTP layer. I'm actually spinning up a virtual or like a localhost HTTP server and actually making real requests. I think where possible you should do that, but if you're doing something very complicated, like, you know, for example, a MySQL layer, I don't think you should require every developer to run MySQL on their machine to run tests. That's my personal opinion. So in that case, I think it's acceptable to use like a data store mock. Advantage of no legacy burn, you can just use errors as in don't break old clients. Yes, exactly. I am enforcing very much Go 1.14 for my projects. The Go Time podcast talks about coming from Ruby to Go and using a test library and why it's bad and better to use standard library as far as it can go. I think I would agree with that statement in general. I think that ultimately you should do what works for you and your team, but having done Go for 7 years now, I have never found a need to use something like a GitGo. It's definitely necessary to mock people who use Go. Yeah. Right. Logging in Go is so rudimentary. The team I joined is using Zap nowadays. I like how it wraps areas from structured logging. Yeah, so honestly, I think structured logging is great. I prefer it in a work environment for sure, but for my personal projects, I just don't really care. You know, I use Prometheus metrics. That's what I care about. Monkey patching tends to be a symptom of having too tight coupling. Instead of monkey patching, consider letting the user pass in interface implementations. Yes, exactly. So the URL error does support unwrapping, so why am I not unwrapping it? I thought errors is would unwrap it. Yeah. Oh, problem exists between keyboard and computer, right? So I'm actually looking for deadline exceeded, not canceled. Perfect. Test pass. That is amazing. Whoa, what did I do? Uh-oh. I just messed up my Stream Manager dashboard. That's not what I wanted. Hello? Might have to fix this later. Ah, okay. I guess we're rolling with this today. Whoa, that's not what I wanted either. Okay, I guess it's fine. Cyan Ronan, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's go down here. What's chat saying now? Logging occurs in a dozen different contexts with a dozen different requirements. Standard library can't possibly have a one-size-fits-all implementation that isn't also a monstrosity. Yeah, totally. I agree. Go time 131. Basically, a team started using Go, used a testing library in their company, then later realized the wider Go community doesn't. So there's friction for open source projects. Yeah, there certainly can be. I've seen open source projects that use testing libraries or things like GoMock. My personal opinion is that GoMock is an abomination. Please keep it far away from my code. I like that tests that are easy to read and understand and etc. That's me. Cool. Okay. So we have timeout, and I also wanted to check and see if the client's context was canceled here, but I don't actually have access. Oh, I do. I totally do. So I would expect that this call, diff t, so we want the R context error, context canceled, or deadline exceeded, right? And this has to be a panic because we cannot fatal F in tests. So my favorite little helper, make panic F. Context canceled, context deadline exceeded. Context was canceled. The client's context was canceled because the request timed out. Nice. Perfect. Read some criticism about errors in Go not having stack traces. It's always bugged me. Throwing exceptions and unbinding the stack should not be normalized. I can see where that kind of thing can be useful, but I think ultimately if you are wrapping your errors in a sufficient way, it should be doable to find things without the entire stack trace. I can see occasions where that's helpful, but I have not normally needed it. People coming from other languages immediately go for a testing framework without even knowing why or what benefit it has for them. Yes, exactly. And the exact same problem for web frameworks too. You often don't need a web framework, you often don't need a testing framework. But pattern matching solutions across languages. Yeah, I think it's really important when you go to a new language that you try and drop your idioms, and just learn and do what they do, right? So whether or not I agree with everything I learned, doing Rust, from my Go experience, like I tried to do what the Rust people would do in a given situation. I think it's better to try and understand and have an educated view of why you might do things that way versus enforcing your own opinions from previous languages. Is there a way for libraries to cleanly provide optional debug logging, or just that libraries can never log anything? If your library has to log, provide something like a logger parameter or some kind of interface, but otherwise, you should not ever use the global logger in your library. So I think some of my libraries, very few, accept things like loggers, but you should always make it so the logs can be silenced by default. By the way, I apologize if I'm talking too fast. I tend to talk fast anyway, and I am hyped up on caffeine, so woo! Unexpected context error. The client's context will be canceled while this sleep is occurring. I like it. Excellent. You can never anticipate all future logging needs. Yes, that's true. I think the logging interface probably is the best bet in general. Thanks for the cold brew tip. We'll find out if I can sleep this week. Yeah, totally. Cold brew is it's something else. It will hit you harder than you think it will. Like, I feel like I'm usually fine, but today I'm just like, wow. Where we're going, we don't need sleep. Yeah, right? How fun. Probably want to test for bad JSON too, I think. It is 2 a.m. now in Singapore. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining. I try to do my best to make it my stream mostly friendly for folks who are in the US and Europe. But I really do appreciate you joining. I know it's difficult to... I know I'm watching stream some dude code and go. Nice. I try and do my best to make things approachable for everyone and like try and find a good time zone, but ultimately I'm US Eastern, so things going to be based around what I can do, you know. I wish there was a way in Go to make logs from a particular package to either go to a file or be the only ones visible. I have not figured this out yet in Zap or standard log. There are some like global logger packages that can do that, but ultimately I think those are often a step in the wrong direction. So I think probably what you should do is configure your loggers in main and pass them just for the packages you care about. That's my personal opinion. This is not actually a timeout. This is context canceled. And we are also going to have, let's see here, malformed JSON is probably a good one. So we're going to write some super broken JSON. Write bytes. Good enough. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, comparing, yeah, okay, I see. So what we need, and also this function doesn't actually accept a, actually it does, okay. So we want something along the lines of errors is, I agree with MD Lair that package logs and routing are not 80-man Go. It sounds like Java, Python, something. Yeah, the thing is like you can accomplish the same thing just by passing, you know, if each package has types that take loggers, you can accomplish the same thing in a less global state way. I don't like global state. Hey, Jules Dev, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. Yes, I totally am. Thank you. Hope you are as well. I would use structured logging and use another tool to look at specific packages logs. Yeah, totally. So if you have like a structured logging field that says like package, you could have like your actual import path if you want, and you can filter on that. I think that's a great idea. Right, yeah, we don't want to compare this, so... Which test panicked, actually? Is this not the new test? Wasn't it working before? Okay, so... I think what I want is something like a JSON unmarshalling error, right? So... F % plus V... Hello? No error? Oh, you know what? I forgot to pass, I got my script here. Oops. Dash V. Hey, okay. Invalid character Y, looking for... JSON syntax error. Exactly, perfect. Errors as a pointer to a JSON syntax error. JError, JSON syntax error. Expected JSON syntax error, but got. Must be a pointer to an interface or a type implementing error. Doesn't this type... Does this not implement error? I usually initiate a variable like equal colon equals address of. No, that's not bad at all. I tend to like the var approach for primitive types. So in this case, if it needs to be a pointer, I'll initialize it that way. But I like var for non-pointer types. I think it's just more obvious that it's I think it's more obvious that it's just a 0 value that way. This is an error. Why? A pointer to an interface or a type impending error. This is exactly that. Right? What am I missing? Do I have to... Is this the issue here? Hello? Hey, nope. Now we have double pointer. That's probably not what I want. Where is setting off that one missing level of indirection? Yeah, what's going on here? I'm gonna make the stack tray smaller so I can actually read it. Okay. Line 53. So why is this sometimes failing? I think I hung it. Okay. Am I missing something? Oh, I see. I'm silly. Again, so if not... Hey, Gabrielle Moroni, thank you so much for the follow. Not errors is... Error. I need to get in the habit of remembering to use errors is because the Go CMP package by default cannot compare the error primitive type. You have to do like some kind of custom function. It's kind of a pain in the neck. Expected context canceled. And this is running into Go routine, so we need to panic F instead. And just take down the server. Right. 52. Oh, right. Our context error. Untied Soul, thank you so much for the follow. I guess at some point I probably need to give in and get some of those obnoxious on-stream notifications, right? I think I'll probably make them pretty minimal. I don't really want something that's super distracting. There we go. Okay. Excellent. I'm getting to the, for those who have played Fire Emblem, I'm getting to the point of the soundtrack where you have the Shambhala remix, the dubstep stuff, and it's a little distracting, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. That's a great game, by the way. If you have a Switch and you like strategy games, Fire Emblem Three Houses is awesome. That is one of the best games I've played in the past couple of years, for sure. You're not going to give me room lights control to the chat? That would be pretty funny, actually. I can make it so there's like a bit reward where like you like blind me or something. We'll see. We can totally hook that up though. That'd be fun. So somebody was telling me that like if you make it so that your chat can control something, then they're a lot more engaged and they're more likely to want to like stick around. But also that can encourage like trolls, you know. So we'll see. Is there a Twitch API which can be connected? Yes, as far as I know. I haven't made a Twitch bot, but I know you can do it. So, and actually, since I'm using Nightbot, maybe Nightbot could do it. We'll see. So, it's a programming stream. I don't think people need to be engaged to stick around. True. Yep, there's Twitch API. Right. So, Dominic, is this... I need the double pointer here because the pointer to syntax error implements error, but the basic struct does not. So we are passing a pointer to a pointer because the pointer to the syntax error implements error, right? Is that what I understand here? I've used errors as very few times, so right, okay. That was just that was unusual. So I guess this is a case where I could also use the address of syntax. I don't know. If I'm not adding any fields, I sometimes will just do this instead. You don't have to do it. Really? So I could do like this? Yeah? No. 76. What did I break? Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. That's a little cleaner. Nice. Yep, I see. Thank you. Twitch API is pretty scuffed since Twitch does not care about it anymore since they use GQ out internally now. Ah, that's a bummer. Twitch.tv/CrarkIO, the guy who made the VS Code monthly release announcement videos, had the lights control on his Twitch. Yeah, I know, like, I could probably do something pretty silly. Ampersand star syntax error, what does that even mean? I'm not sure I understand, so I don't have that. Oh, are you talking about this line 69 right now? This ampersand JERR for JSON error? Right, so we're taking the address of... So this is a pointer type as is, so we're declaring this to be a pointer to a JSON syntax error. We are passing a pointer to a pointer. Yes, exactly. We need the double indirection because the struct type itself does not implement error. The pointer to it does. So in order to populate a pointer to a syntax error, we have to pass a pointer to that pointer. So that is why we're doing this. It's one of those tricky things, but ultimately you can have as many levels of pointer indirection as you like. So... cool. Okay, I think we're in good shape, so I'll bring this back up to normal size. Sweet. I'm happy with this. This seems pretty good. So, do we care about checking the headers? I mean, we could, right? The new one in V5, I think, but V5 is deprecated. Great. The lovely encoding packages. Oh no. Uh-oh. Code review. So I was curious when people would notice that. I have channel points rewards now, so I can review your code if you want me to. Holy cow. This is how many lines of changes? Thousands and thousands. Maybe I should make that 5,000 channel points instead. Just kidding, by the way. Cool. Yes, that's something I introduced recently. So I guess we will see what happens. Wow, that's a lot of changes. We'll see what happens by introducing some channel point rewards. So I think something fun to do could be that if you watch my stream, you'll get channel point rewards. So actually, they're called compilation errors. It's great. So if you click on that little like circle down below chat, you can see things like suggest a poll or modify an emote. We don't have emotes yet. We will soon. And code review. So if you do a code review, then I think I'm probably going to try and do it for like one per stream so I don't get like inundated. And I'm pretty sure I've got it set up that way. But if you redeem that channel point reward, then I will do a review of your code on stream. So if you're interested, go for it. Do we actually care about verifying this header? I mean, maybe we should, right? But I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone for now. Test client creates a key-like client pointed at the HTTP server running with handler FN. 2.5K is nothing. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Maybe I should bump it to like 5,000 or more. The thing is, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure like where to start with it. I guess I could look at that really quick though. Channel points. What do you think? 10K? Before I get inundated with code review. All right, updated. 5K is probably about 2 streams. Okay, I think 5K is fair then, right? I mean, we'll do 5,000. We'll do 5,000. I think 2,500 you probably is a little bit too low. Thank you for the stream this evening. Bye. Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Take care. The Tourist? Is that how you say your name? The Tourist. Thank you so much for following. You can increase over time and use a logarithm make model to make sure people stay. Yeah. So it's now 5,000. We'll see what happens. Yeah, cool. I also do have the channel point reward, so suggest a poll. So if we wanted to do like a poll about something, like if we wanted to complain about testing frameworks or stuff like that, we could do that. It'd be pretty fun. I'm happy to do viewer interaction type stuff. I think that keeps things more fresh here in the chat. So let me know. We'll probably have to bump the points on that one too. We'll see. Okay, I think this is probably in good shape for the start, so I feel like we should just commit what we have right now and then start writing more stuff. Grabs laptop so you can start a poll. Nice. I'm pretty sure you can do channel points on mobile too, but I don't actually remember. Internal. Wow, my company uses Fastly. This is amazing. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I work for Fastly. So the work I'm doing today is all my open source stuff. This has nothing to do with work for me, but that's very cool. You can't start the poll on mobile. Interesting. So it actually lets the viewer start a poll? I thought it was just suggesting a poll. Because like if somebody like says something terrible in chat, like I don't want that to show up, you know? So I guess we'll see. If I have the option to approve or deny it, then I'm good with that. But mods can start it. Okay, perfect. For what it's worth, I am happy to have any kind of poll that is like, you know, programming relevant, or, you know, maybe even some fun stuff once in a while, but if it's inappropriate, like, no thanks. I'm not going to say this is like a family-friendly stream, because it's not. I don't care for it to be, but I want things to be civil, you know? I think I have like the default chat rules or something like, you know, be excellent to each other, respect each other, and like that's really all I care about in here. So I don't really care about language. I don't really care about a lot of those other things, but Go is not family friendly. Well, I mean more so like the conversations and stuff, right? Like I might swear occasionally, or people in chat mic, whatever. But I'm not gonna like police things like very strictly, you know? I don't really care if you like swear, as long as you're not being like rude to others, you know? Inappropriate questions such as which test framework to use. Yes. Very inappropriate. Let's go ahead and commit what we have. So internal key light, initial commit, and push. Which dependency injection framework is the best? If by dependency injection you mean passing methods to, or passing functions to structs or whatever, or structs to functions. Yeah, don't use dependency injection frameworks. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. We're going to copy this now. We're going to write tests that actually use the code. So, how many folks do we have in chat? Good number. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. Dagger.dev. I once said literally I should RTFM the Go channels and was told that was bad language, even if I was referring to myself. Yes, I know. I got in trouble for saying LMAO. So I see what you mean. I'm not going to police that sort of stuff. Like, I don't care. Like, some of these things are like internet culture, right? Like, I think RTFM is internet culture. LMAO is internet culture. Like, in my mind, like, especially if you're saying it to yourself, like, who cares? But that's, you know, I can understand why they want to keep the communities as welcoming as possible. But I've had the same experience for what it's worth. Is global state a good idea? Timeout. Ban Jules Dev. No, I'm just kidding. Why is dependency injection framework shit? Just ironic? I can't tell if you're being serious. The thing is they introduced like magic and complexity, and you don't need it. You can just pass variables around. Test client accessory info. Right. So I guess in this case, we just want to, we don't even really need a table-driven test here. We could just do a single, like this method is so simple. Read the fine manual and appending my, laughing my appendage off. Yeah, exactly. Started learning Rust nowadays and starting to see like people raving about it. I sort of regretted I started going with Go. So there's room for both. I've discussed this a few times, but I think that it's valuable to learn multiple languages, and there are things that I would use Rust for that I would not use Go for, and there are things that I will continue to use Go for that I would never want to use Rust for. That's just me. But every language is valuable. I think it's important to keep an open mind, right? Like, you can't use one hammer for every problem. I would say don't use Go for a microcontroller, but TinyGo disagrees. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, actually. I feel like Rust is great for microcontrollers and stuff like that. Did some Go, loved it for CLI tools, didn't like it for anything else. It's good for CLI tools for sure. I like writing network services with Go. Like, for example, pretty much all the network stuff I'm writing now is in Go. So, do what works for you. Emoji code? Yeah, no thanks. No emoji anywhere near my code, please. Still can't grasp the Rust syntax, and they keep changing the syntax. I think the async await stuff has introduced some friction in the ecosystem. The syntax can be dense. Can you please share where you use Go instead of Rust? So, for example, I wrote an IPv6 neighbor advertisement or router advertisement daemon called CoreRad that's written in Go, and neighbor discovery doesn't operate like tens of 100 gigabit per second of traffic, right? It is sending messages once in a while, like distributing route information in a network. There is no reason I would want to do that in Go or in Rust instead of Go, when Go is a perfectly fine language for that. If I were writing an Ethernet driver that had to drive a 100 gigabit NIC, you'd write Rust, right? Lazik88, thank you so much for the follow. I've seen teams struggle trying to build web services in Rust and finally switch back to Go and be finished in a few days. Yep, totally. .NET had built-in dependency injection now in Core, which is amazing. I haven't used .NET in a long time, but the thing is that, like, what is dependency injection anyway? You just pass parameters to functions. If you're using some kind of like global dependency injection container, you're setting yourself up for a world of hurt, in my opinion. I always thought a language couldn't have more symbols than Perl, but Rust proved me wrong. Maybe. Maybe a little bit. Let's dump some information from my light and see what it says. Curl. Nope. I want accessory info. You've not seen Scala then. Yeah, right. Product name is, hello? Key light device. Elgato key light. Firmware. Why is my completion not working? I think I probably broke this, didn't I? Scala is dope. I've never used it. I mean, I know that the JVM is clearly very powerful. I've had some bad experiences with Java. I've never looked at things like Scala and Clojure, and actually I hear Kotlin is pretty interesting too, so I'm curious about that one. You would write an Intel 10 gig network driver in Go like this. That's pretty cool. I've seen IXI before. I mean, probably I personally wouldn't. I think the thing is like the garbage collection could introduce some like unpredictable latency, right? Can you do a stream programming in Malbulge? I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna guess it's not good. W, encode, want. COBOL is widely used too. So to be clear here, I don't want to hate on any particular languages. I think the thing is every language has its merits, and we should accept them all and use them for what they're good with, right? Like, I think trying to write off an entire language for some use cases is kind of a closed-minded point of view. Don't get me wrong; there are languages I wouldn't really want to work with, but I think that they're all valuable in some ways. Failed to fetch device. Actually, we just called that. So Let's see here. Firmware. Why is my completion not working? All right, we're gonna give VS Code the old kick really quick. There we go. Firmware. There we go. 192. Version 1.0.3. Sure. Serial. We're not gonna use my real serial. We're gonna make one up. So would this be like... Cool. Display name empty at the moment. I wonder how this even gets set. I have no idea, actually. Let's just say office. XC Languages has graphs for performance by language for the network driver. Just because you use that as an example is interesting. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just an example, right? Like I talk about like someday wanting to write like some kind of SDN thing, and I think I would write the control portion in Go and the data plane portion in Rust. I think that's a good fit. But that being said, clearly there are languages that are good for different things. So it looks like Rust and C#, really? C# performs better than Go in IXI? Wow. That's wild. Your web server is bottlenecked on so many other things. It's a bit silly to care about every last CPU cycle. Yeah, so I have a story here. Someone whose name or affiliation I will not disclose, I got in an argument. They were trying to remove pointers from like the MySQL, like trying to remove like pointers for like MySQL rows unpacking or something. And I was like, why are you doing that? And they said, oh, well, you know, every allocation matters. And it's like, you realize you're talking to a MySQL database that lives somewhere else with probably, you know, tens of milliseconds of latency. Like, why in the world are you removing pointers? Like, it doesn't matter. The thing is, it's like you have bigger fish to fry, you know? Like, if you're talking to like a MySQL server over the network, then what's the point? There's much more value as in money in getting your web server out fast and having it be maintainable. Yeah, totally. One sec. There we go. So we are at the point now where we can compare these, I think. Unexpected device. Internal key light. Oh, pointer. Hot, silly. Hey, look, the test pass. We have a working Elgato key light client for that endpoint, at least. The Welsh Kaibagan? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Thank you so much for the follow. We should probably check the endpoint here, too. Be a good idea. Do we, No. We're not going to need to there. Okay, one sec. You want Elgato. Hey, Magic Cookie Tree. Thank you so much for the follow. Elgato accessory info. Our URL path. We want to verify the path here. And panic. This Gruntwork web service HTTP handling would be much easier if this was generated. I don't really think it's that bad. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's like I don't feel any friction when it comes to writing this code. I think these are all pretty good abstractions. But that's just me. I think that Go strikes a very good balance with what I've come to find are the things I value in programming. Like I don't care as much about conciseness. I do not mind these error blocks one bit. Do not care. Like I don't need any other error handling operators or similar, you know. But that's just me. I guess we could, yeah. So we got that done. Maybe if there were hundreds of routes in an existing machine-readable spec, one would write a generator and generate the code. Yes, totally. So like the AWS, was mentioned in the chat, the AWS generated code. I think maybe at that point, like code generation is a decent option because the API is so massive. But this has probably, what, 5 endpoints? 3, I think. So yeah, this is not a big deal at all. This package is going to come in at like, you know, maybe 1,000 lines. No. I mean, shoot. So the code I've written so far, we have 104 lines, like including white space and comments for the device itself. And we have, you know, more tests. So like the majority of this code is tests. So I don't feel like this has a lot of friction at all, you know? Okay. Let's commit this. Internal key light. What are we gonna call this? Add test for client accessory info. And push. And we're gonna put this in its own repo too later today. Once I get it all working. So. Now, ooh. Excuse me, we need to add a new endpoint for the lights, actually. So /lights, right? So for those who weren't in the chat earlier, I know we've been going for quite a while. So Moni, thank you so much for the follow. We've been going for a while, so I will show you all what this actually does. So you'll see here I'm running commands in my terminal, so I can turn the lights on and off. That, oh, get. Put. Ta-da! See? Pretty cool. I can bring it back on. I can adjust the temperature too. I don't know how to do that quite. I don't know the conversions there yet. And I can also turn the brightness all the way up. Oh, wow. That's it's like daytime. There we go. Cool. So that is what we're doing. The goal is to enable that control via the yeah, via the launchpad, which we'll hopefully get to in a little bit. So this is peak nerd blinding yourself with code. Yeah, totally. That is the truth. So this endpoint is called light. So we can fetch the current status. We can also modify it. Emmanuel Paul, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Lights. Blinding by code instead of science. All right, water refill. 1 sec. All right, and we're back. I have to be honest, I thought this was about flight simulators and Go because of the name. Yeah, no, so the project is to basically take my Novation Launchpad here and make like a stream controller, so my apologies. How come he drinks a lot of water but there's no bathroom break? I mean, I've gone to the bathroom like during like one of these breaks, I think, so I don't know. Recycling. Yikes. That's messed up. This structure is weird. Like, why? Does this imply that there's like a device that has multiple lights on it? Because I don't think that's true. I don't think Elgato sells one. But let's see. Elgato lights. I do drink a ton of water. I just got in the habit over the past like few years. Like if I have water in front of me, I'll just subconsciously drink it, and yeah, it's good. If you ever have like headaches and stuff, you should probably be drinking more water. They might be future-proofing. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm just debating if that's something I need to expose in my API, because I don't really care, right? Multi-mount. Ooh, I could use a mount. I'm gonna give these guys so much money. Right. Yeah, I think they probably are future-proofing, so I guess we can, I guess we'll make a light structure and return more than one. I wonder how the num field is different from the length of the array. Yeah, good question. I don't think it is, but I wonder why they'd even expose that field. Like, I'm not planning on exporting that, so. A light has the properties of on bool, brightness, which is an integer, and temperature, which is also an int, but we're going to have to figure out how to do the Kelvin. I'd expect the API to allow me to control more than one in the future. Yes, totally. Oh, this isn't going to work because it's an integer. We're going to have to make a JSON unmarshalling function. So what we're doing here is var v for value. What we're doing is we're going to unmarshal the JSON in the format it gives us, but we're going to convert that onto a Boolean because using an integer to represent that is quite silly. Checkmate in 1. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. JSON. No, nil. Because JSON unmarshal B into the address of V. Turn error. Error. Seeing how on is a number in this num field, they're probably just dumping the C's data structures to JSON. Yeah, probably. That would make sense. v.on is... Oh, this is not a Boolean, this is an integer. Equals 1. Easy enough. We no longer need these tags. I think I'm probably going to expose these as... I don't know. I still don't know how the temperature value works out because the data in the app does not display like 293. It says like 3400 Kelvin. So we're going to have to find the conversion, but for today we can probably leave it alone. A light is a status of a light on an Elgato on a key light device. Key light device. Status of an individual light. So yes, I think probably Terran is right. They're probably future-proofing here. They might release a light that has multiple different fixtures on it. So in this particular case, it's probably good to return arrays and such. So we'll do that, or slices. Elements JSON unmarshaler. In theater, we call them lamps. Hello? Oh. Is this static check? Self-assignment. Yes, it is static check. Nice. Thank you, Dominic. Your static check built into Go Please here saved me from doing something really silly. I was just on total autopilot. Where did you find the docs? I did not. I TCP dumped. Yeah, I ran the app and I TCP dumped on my router. So... unmarshal into an intermediate struct so we can convert onto a proper Boolean rather than an integer. Doesn't C have Booleans? Maybe the C JSON marshaller they're using or something doesn't, but is static check and Go Please by default? It is not. You can enable it. Let me see here. Preferences, settings. Anything here we care about? So Go, where is it? Yeah. So Go Please, I've got use placeholders and I've got static check true. So, oh, C99's bool type is still an integer. Gotcha. Hashtag HackerMan. We might have to disassemble the API to figure out the temperature conversion. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to leave it alone for now. Oh, thanks. I will try that. Nice. Yeah, definitely do. If you're running Go Please, I think I'm on 041. Go Please version? 041. Yep, it's all built in, which is nice. Or at least some of the checks are built in. I'm not exactly sure. Dominic would know more about what is turned on and what is not, but... Light. Elgato lights, right? Yeah. And the structure we're going to pass is going to be... We don't actually care about the other fields. We're going to have struct lights. Array of pointers to light. JSON lights. Can we one liner this? No, I don't think we can. I don't really want to anyway. Yep. The lights. Unused isn't enabled. 2 other checks aren't. Everything else is enabled, including non-default checks. At the moment, that will change eventually. Cool. Okay. All right. So... $100. Ah, yep. Okay, so now we have code to do this, so we can write tests for this as well. Lights, 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 lights. We have pointer to key light lights. I guess we could potentially assume there's... Is it a must to cover all of your code with tests, or is it just preference? I think it is good to cover everything that is reasonable to cover. So I will show you the current coverage, not including the light stuff because we just haven't done that yet, but... hello? Oh, the bracket's highlighting. Okay, right. So you'll notice here, we have... This is covered, this error return is covered, this one's covered. I think that it is valuable to... I think it's valuable to cover as much as you can. But like, for example, there's probably no point in me verifying this return case. Like if the HTTP new request with context fails, like we probably just want to return that as is. So I cover as much as is reasonable to do. I think you should aim for like, you know, probably 70-80+% if you can. But 100% code coverage is a joke and Go, in my personal opinion. Because at that point, you're just exacerbating errors that could never possibly happen. So... Should we return more than one light? I don't know. What are the values for that? Curl. On 1, brightness 15. Okay. So this is my current setting. So we'll use that as our fixture. True. 15. Temperature 293. To do figure out how to convert temperature to from Kelvin for sure. I wonder what the range is here. I guess we can probably, I can run the mobile app and then dump the status. So let's do that really quick. One sec. Oh gosh. I'm getting so many so much junk. Okay. Let's get the status. So if I turn the color temperature all the way towards the red or the warm side, 2900. So this is 2900 Kelvin. 344. Yeah, that's weird. Let's take some notes. So, oh shoot, you found it? Where did you get that code from? Uh, 2900 Kelvin is K equals 344. And let's crank it all the way to blue, or cool. Ah, that is 143. Okay. 7,000 Kelvin. That's so strange. I feel like there probably is like some conversion going on here. Maybe the stuff Taryn mentioned, but 143. Okay. Is that right? Looks about right. Kelvin to API is interesting. Okay, cool. How did you find that? I think probably we can have like a helper or something that sets like allows you to set it in Kelvin instead of the raw value. For the time being, I'm going to ignore that, but I will copy your Twitch notes here. I'll copy your conversation in here. Someone else already reverse engineered it. Nice. Ah. Moderator, founder, 1 month subscriber, etc., etc. Cool. Okay. Interesting. API to Kelvin. Kelvin to API. Cool. This is the lights API. So we're going to have the intermediate here as well. So that's Python, but should be simple to convert to Go. Okay, cool. This matches the raw output. Let's get rid of this pane down here. We don't need this. From the API, but we ignore parts of it for our parsing. Reflow, nice. Lights want. Key light, light. Value. And then we have number of lights. It's kind of silly, but I guess we can do it anyway, right? Number of lights int JSON. Make it line up as close as possible with reality, even though we don't really care. It's not going to work because we don't have a JSON marshalling method. I don't want to export this. I'm probably just going to copy it. This is one of those cases where doing the black box testing approach kind of bites you because you end up having to either export things you don't want to export or duplicate code. I think in this case, I'm going to choose to duplicate the code because I just don't want to deal with it. So lights is going to be an array of structs. Oops. Lights. Let's do this. The anonymous struct initialization syntax gets a little confusing after a while, so len want for L want. Oh, but then I have to. I hate doing this. Light. Var light struct. V lights equals append. Append the lights with a new light, which is unpacked, which is the other version. So, what is it? It's a Boolean. So we have L on. What a nuisance. I previously worked with a person who reverse engineered it. Nice. Very cool. Light. W. No, then we're shadowing. Gotta go take care of the kids. Thanks a lot for doing the stream. Yeah, no problem. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out. Take care. See you around. This is where we get into annoying variable names. Let's just call it temp. I don't know. Temp, no. Actually, I think we can shadow this in here, and it'll be fine. So let's do that for now. Light. Let's see here. So brightness is set directly. L brightness. Temperature is also set directly. Oops, caps lock. Temperature L temperature. And then if L on, then light on equals 1. Right? Will this work? Light is not a type. Yes, it is. Oh, it's not. Type. Okay. We're getting somewhere. I passed the wrong... hello? Light's colon equals light. Yeah, I'm doing kind of a naughty thing here by shadowing the name of a type with a local variable. I'm not saying it's like a great practice, but I'm gonna go with it, I think. Which test is panicking? Accessory info. Oh, did I modify the wrong function? Maybe I did. Nope. What is going on? Did I do something silly? I think I might have. Test client lights. Okay, that test isn't even done yet. So Elgato lights. Hi, I recognize your handle, but I have no clue where from. Best guess is NixOS GitHub. Yes, I am. I do work on NixOS stuff. So I am the maintainer of one package. You know, one package, very important. I wrote an IPv6 router advertisement daemon called CoreRad in Go. So that is what I maintain with NixOS. So that's probably where you saw me. But I'm MD layer on GitHub, Twitter, everything pretty much. So that you might have seen me around too. Yeah, for sure. Why is this unexpected URL path? I'm looking for Elgato lights, but I got accessory info. Did I get this wrong? Accessory info. Am I not actually passing the... No, I am. What did I do? I use your APC PSD exporter. Nice. Yeah, I actually just did a cleanup on that. If that's in NixOS, I'm actually not sure if it is. It should be updated. But I should package that myself because I actually want to use that on my router as well. And my server. They both run NixOS. So I should get that updated. Hello? Path Elgato accessory info. I think we've got like some shadowing funny business going on here. Did I not make a copy of this properly? What did I do? Use string. Okay. Real quick. Accessory info for both. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm calling the wrong function. I am calling the wrong function. Wow. That's so annoying. So, of course, I start looking into the complicated thing, such as like, oh, maybe I am shadowing this thing, so it's manipulating... Or maybe I'm not shadowing it properly, so it's manipulating the pointer to the URL, so it's overwriting that like concurrently. But no, it's much more simple. I just forgot to change the function I'm calling. Fun. Sometimes it'd be like that. Failfish. That's a new one to me. Is that a global? Nice, it is. Cool, okay. Yeah, I'm actually sad I don't have a lot of my emotes on MD Layer because I use another account for watching streams, watching game streams. So I have a lot of my Super Mario World streamer and stuff emotes on there. For those who haven't watched, if you like Mario games, check out some of the Kaizo Mario streamers. It's very interesting seeing the level of gameplay that people can achieve and like some of the levels people can make with Mario. It's extremely cool. So We might end up raiding a Kaizo streamer today, depending on who is streaming after this. We'll see. Perfect. So on the topic of Prometheus, yeah, I've written a lot of Prometheus exporters, actually. So you might be using my Unify exporter as well. That is something I am trying very hard to get rid of and put in the grave. It's hasn't been updated in a long time. I recommend using SNMP instead, or there's actually a project called Unified Polar, which seems much nicer and maintained. So that'd be cool. I've got my own WireGuard exporter, which I think is more idiomatic than the one currently packaged with NixOS. So I wonder if I could introduce it as like MDL WireGuard or something. I don't know. We'll see. Right now I've got it as like an overlay locally. Otherwise, I've written a bunch of exporters for things. I'm going to build one for this key light for sure, like so I can write alerts if my light was left on for more than like 4 hours. You know, that'd be pretty fun. You know what we could do is we could export these types in a test file, so we could add methods to these types that are only exported in tests. Or we could export types that are only exported for tests. It's kind of a hack. I mean, you could do it, but I don't know if I want to do that. What percentage of Prometheus standard ports are you? Not as much as I used to be, for sure. There are like hundreds of Prometheus exporters now. When I started, there were very few, and I think I had like 5 out of like maybe 100, but now there are like I think like 800 or 900. I think I've written like 10 Prometheus exporters, but it's there are a lot. There are quite a few. So copy to avoid exporting unnecessary types. We make copies of their definitions here. Beautiful. Unpack each light into its raw JSON format. I guess I could implement a Marshall JSON method, but I don't really want to because you're not... Actually, no, I'm going to have to. I'm already going to have to, so I should do that right now. Because we're going to be sending the lights back to the API. So as a result, we need to implement marshalling JSON anyway. I use Prom at work, but I find that I use StatsD at home because I keep exporting metrics from microcontrollers. Interesting. Okay. So they don't have like an HTTP stack? There is like a StatsD exporter too, so you can actually capture it with StatsD and use Prometheus. Like I love Prometheus. Like I feel like it's the one monitoring system that actually makes sense of like how I want to view things, like how I imagine data should be, and like it exposes things in such a more sane way versus like pushing everything to one central server that could just totally fall over, you know. But it is a great project for sure. So we're gonna be able to get rid of this code because we can use the JSON marshalling implementation. So that's why I end up doing UDP is easier than bringing up an HTTP stack. Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand why you'd do that. Type raw light, or we'll call it JSON light. A JSON light is the raw JSON representation of a light. So var JL JSON light. JL on, JL brightness, JL temperature. Done and done and done. So now, because we're going to need to post this structure back to the API in order to modify the status of the lights, we're going to implement Marshall JSON, so we do the reverse. So Marshall JSON implements JSON Marshall error. So we can take this code. JL. JSON Marshall. JL. Yeah, right? Oh, 2 returns. Yep. Easy enough. And now we can actually get rid of some of this code. I spent 2 hours figuring out that JSON marshalling needs the structs with exported fields. Yeah, we've all been there. I mentioned that earlier in the stream too. Like, you know what's so funny is I've been writing Go for 7 years, and I'm pretty sure that still bit me like recently, like pretty recently, you know. And it's one of those things where it's like, what in the world is going on? And then you realize like, oh, it's just JSON marshalling. The worst. But yeah, we've all been there, and I'm still there sometimes. So this can now be JSON lights. Oh, they're not exported. No. Oh, come on, man. This is so awesome. I built a small Go wrapper around libUSB to control my NZXT, Kraken, x62 under Linux. Nice. Very cool. I would love to see a link to that project. And also, so the project I'm building this light control for is I want to turn my Novation Launchpad here into like a streaming and like manipulation controller. So I press a button on this and it turns this light on and off. I am not familiar with the NZXT Kraken, but if it's a similar kind of device to like a Stream Deck or something like peripheral, it would be pretty cool to add support for it in my project. So feel free to drop a link. I'd love to see that. I am using the Go MIDI stuff, which does all the USB and etc. for me via Seago for my Launchpad, which is nice. Oh, that's an AIO cooler now. Oh, cool. Okay. You know, I actually have I've got a Corsair power supply that has a USB interface for like exposing metrics and stuff, and I toyed with that at one point, but it was a lot more difficult than I had anticipated because like the formulas weren't documented at all. So I kind of set that aside, but that's something I'd love to pull stats off of too. But nice, that's cool. So perhaps not as useful for the project I'm talking about now, but that's still pretty cool. Thanks for answering my questions. Need to sleep now. Got a stand-up meeting at 9. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out. Hope your stand-up meeting goes well. I remember those 9 a.m. stand-up meetings for sure. Take care. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. So now we can encode these in the raw format because the marshaller will do the right thing. Number of lights. Want lights. This can actually be the exported type. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. We're totally good. Because the exported type will marshal to the unexported format. Want. We can remove this code. We can remove this code. Beautiful. Should pass, I think. Hello? Is this the same issue as before? Oh, I need to remove that log line too. Yeah, go away. Cannot unmarshal bool into go struct field. What did I get wrong? All right, let's go back to single pane for now. I'm unmarshaling into a. Oh, I think I messed this up a little bit. Oh, cool. Thanks for the link. Yeah, I guess I'm thankful this thing just has an HTTP API, so I don't have to do any like Seago craziness. Seago is very cool. It's a very useful tool, but certainly your projects get a lot more complicated as soon as you need to introduce it. So, what is going on here? Why is I cannot unmarshal a bool into a go struct field? Seago is depressing. It certainly can be. It has a time and a place. I'll tell you that. What am I doing wrong? Am I missing something obvious? Everything nice about Go, can't use it. Yeah, that is a good point. JL. Let's drill down into this a little bit more. Test client lights. Unmarshal a bool into a go struct field lights. Did I malform the fixture? Thank God I never had to use it then. I've done very, very little. I know folks who have done like very comprehensive bindings for projects. So for example, I feel like I dreamed that there would be like a good idiomatic FFmpeg binding for Go, but that is like seriously one of the most unapproachable projects I can think of. Actually, what I think would be worse than FFmpeg though is ZFS. Like I would love to write like a ZFS binding for Go, but man, that is a big hill to climb for sure. Am I not matching the actual JSON? Number of lights. Lights is a slice. This should marshal to Alva Rovi Brantz. I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. A ZFS NAS in a single binary, yes. I'd want it so bad. That would be amazing. Or being able to do things like ZFS, like you could like ZFS send to like an IO or ZFS receive from an IO reader or ZFS send to an IO writer would be so cool. Like I want that so bad, but I don't think I have the willpower, you know. It's one of those things where it would be useful, but not worth the hundreds of hours of work it would probably take, you know. Am I doing something really silly here? Like, is there something I've got? This JSON marshalling type error, like, am I doing something trivial that I'm missing? As far as I can tell, I'm mirroring the structure here, so I don't understand why. If I had the time, I would try doing it. Free NAS, OMV, etc. I really need some competition. Yeah, totally. My NAS now runs NixOS, and NixOS is amazing if you haven't used it. It is a fully declarative Linux distribution. I think some of the ZFS admin stuff you still kind of have to do yourself, but NixOS is great. You just say, I want this service running with this config, and it'll figure it out. And that's amazing. Okay, line 95. Failed to fetch lights. Let's see what this JSON actually looks like. Like, what am I doing wrong here? trio.t reader. Body OS standard error. We're passing it as a Boolean. Okay, so something is amiss. I thought I was unpacking, or I thought I was packing it into... Did I get the type wrong here? I totally did. No. Yep, there we go. I got the signature wrong. It did not implement the interface, so go figure. I run Proxmox with ZFS and Linux. Works great as a single machine setup. Yeah, totally. I've been interested in Proxmox, but it turns out it's not that... Well, I've been running Ubuntu for a long time. I just switched my NAS to NixOS recently, and I really like it. I think it is amazing for me. It's perfect for everything I want to do. What we're going to do now is we're going to verify this implements these interfaces, because this is going to be too annoying otherwise. Nice little compile time interface check. Handy for situations like this where you think you're implementing an interface, but you're actually not. So Proxmox is basically Debian with benefits, recent kernel, WebUI, etc. Yeah, I think a WebUI would be sometimes kind of handy, but I don't find myself needing it very much. I've been doing like the Linux like NAS at home thing for like 10 years now. So I guess I'm more familiar these days. I'm not too worried about it. And with NixOS, I just said, hey, I want kernel 5.6, and suddenly I have it, which is pretty cool. So kernel 5.6 actually is awesome because it has built-in support for SATA drive temperatures. So you can mod probe the drive temp module and get all of your drive temperatures by default, which is amazing, without having to use like a user space daemon or like root commands. So I'm extremely happy about that. So we have light fetching now. I think this is probably a good time to commit things, yeah? I assume the test pass. It's so annoying. Like, so the problem was I had this I had this parameter here in Marshall JSON, which means that it no longer implements the interface I thought it did. And because there is no explicit requirement for a JSON marshaller, it's one of those like implicit interface upgrade things. It was just hard to tell. So that's why I added this compile time checkup here. So we're assigning a variable called underscore, which means, it has no name. It's a type JSON marshaller, and the type we're assigning to it is the address of a light, or the pointer to a light structure. So this means that whenever the code compiles, if you don't implement this interface, this will fail. This will fail your compilation. So this is a handy trick for situations like this. Go. Oh shoot, did I forget to commit? Yeah, I did. So our CI build's probably been broken for a little bit. That's okay. Client lights method. Beautiful. It's kind of a shame to have this little bit of like dead space down like next to my terminal, where my camera gets in the way. That's why I've got the TMUX split going on right now. I wonder if there's anything useful I could do with that space, but I don't know. Did they finally fix Go Please in VS Code? I used to have a lot of issues before I switched to Goland. I think Go Please has worked really well now for at least a few months. I'm running 0.4.1 and I'm very happy with it. I actually just had to quit. I had to quit VS Code a little bit earlier because for some reason my auto-completion got a little out of whack. So it's not perfect, but I'm actually quite happy with it overall. It works better now. Yeah, I would agree with that. Cybora Bora, thank you so much for the follow. You get a lot of followers today. Very cool. Just wait until I have my Twitch emotes. You all want to subscribe. By the way, if you've got your Twitch Prime subscription you're not using, you should subscribe to twitch.tv/mdlair. But also, I actually do need YouTube subscribers because I want to get a custom channel URL, so I'm counting on you all. Oh, Taryn says, I wrote the code to convert the temperature. Nice. You want to send a pull request? That would be great. Still run debugs in Go Please, but hey, it's a work in progress. Yep. My Go Please instance is using 10 gigabytes of memory right now. Are you working on static check? There's no YouTube link. Yeah, one sec. Social. Ta-da! Yeah, so go to youtube.com/thatmonstrosity so I can get rid of that. And then hopefully we'll have Twitch or youtube.com/mdlair or whatever. I need 100 subscribers on YouTube, so fingers crossed. Working on the editor. Nice. Oh, wow. I was trying to use Go Please on the Cockroach DB repo, and it's using 30 gigs of memory. Wow. That's quite a lot. It's a 404, really? Oh, it's the period. One sec. Where do you want the conversion to happen? Probably just in the inline in the file. Yeah, one sec. Let me fix that Nightbot command. Terran, I think I'm debating, like, do we want, like, exported things? Like, I'll sketch this out in a sec. One moment. I'm going to fix this link, and then I'll get back to it. It's knowing that it considers the period part of the link. Submit. Okay. +1 YouTube sub. Yay, nice. Social. There we go. Fixed. Yeah, I know it's silly. I'm just trying to... I want to get a better channel URL. Also, YouTube will be where you can find all the old streams. So, Taryn, I think kind of what I was thinking of along the lines of was... Well, to be honest, this integer means nothing to anybody. I think we should probably do the conversion for the user, right? So when you pass a temperature, it's assumed to be in degrees Kelvin, and we do the conversion to the raw format for the JSON light. Would you agree with that statement, Taryn? I think that's pretty reasonable. Dominic agrees. And I can document that this is the temperature in Kelvin versus... That's what I was thinking. Perfect. Okay, yeah, please do send a pull request. That would be great. In the meantime, I will work on posting data to the light, or putting data. The Mr. Software, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I am legitimately shocked, you all, that we've had so many people interested in my stream. I know that over the years and stuff, like, I've posted a lot of code. Oh my gosh. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. Saifal Harthi 2048. I apologize. I really do. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Close enough. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I do my best. Oh, awesome. I was missing a good Go-related stream for a long time until I saw your tweet a couple weeks ago. That's great. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Like I was saying, I'm so glad that people like this. This is kind of the work I was going to do anyway. Like, I wanted to write these sorts of things, and doing it on stream has been a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying this. Definitely, appreciate you all hanging out. I've had a really good time doing this. We'll continue doing more streams like this, more stuff with Stoppelberg, hopefully, and others. I'd love to build up the Go streaming community. It'd be great. Hey, John Gwynn, thank you so much for the follow. And Oh Bonsai, thank you so much for the follow as well. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you missed it, check out the pair work MD Lair and Stoppelberg did from Archive. Interactive is fun. Totally. I think the only thing... Thanks, Matt, for sharing. Hey, no problem. I'm happy to do so. I think the only thing I didn't like about doing the pair programming stream was it was harder to interact with chat because we were so busy talking to each other that I couldn't necessarily read and interact with all of your questions. Like, there were folks asking for... Somebody had like a Linux question or something, and it was one of those things where like we could have possibly looked it up and like helped out, but in the middle of the stream it just wasn't going to happen, the pair programming, No kidding. Nice to see this kind of project. I started building a DIY Stream Deck alternative using an ESP32 and Bluetooth. That is awesome. That is exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to turn this Launchpad into a Stream Deck. So we've got some working code. We're going to hook up the light today. I'm going to check out your tweet really quick. Nice. That's pretty cool. I think your PC build brought me to your Twitter. Yep, nice. Not Go, but happy I found your Twitter and Twitch. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for following. The Launchpad works as a MIDI keyboard. Yes. Actually, we haven't demoed that code in quite a while. Let's do that. So, what happened to my scene? Oh, I know what happened. One sec. This is a little hacky, yeah. Let me try and fix my windows really quick and get the window size right. There we go. Close enough. Yeah, so what I am working on is a project I am calling flightdeck. The idea is that it will... Let's see here. Go run dot. The idea with this is we are going to take this device and capture inputs and outputs and eventually turn this into our own Stream Deck. So what's cool about the Launchpad is that we can actually, yes, we can read it as a MIDI keyboard. Or as a MIDI input and output device. So if I press a button, I can light lights, I can do different things, I can receive inputs. So this is the goal, is to do this and take it and make it something useful. So we're going to be able to do things like, wow. Let me breathe for a sec, I got excited. We're going to be able to do things like control the key lights, control OBS scenes. That is the goal. So I'm excited. Check out the project if you're interested. I don't know if I have a link for that. Do I? flightdeck. That's okay. I do. Nice. What a beautiful device. Yeah, this is the Novation Launchpad Mini Mark 1. This was like $70. The Mark 3 is like 110, and the Stream Deck is like 150, right? So I think this is going to be a good compromise over buying a Stream Deck. Yeah, cool. So the goal for today's stream, I think I'm probably going to... We've been going for about 245. I think that if we can get the Stream Deck integrated with the Flight Deck project, Stream Deck, the key light integrated with the Flight Deck project, then we're probably going to be a good place to stop the stream for today. So, enough buttons for one day's worth to switch browser tabs. 1 day's worth of tabs. All of you who have hundreds of tabs open, like I don't understand that at all. That's just not the way I work. There we go. So the way that I like to work is I will have like a handful of tabs open at a time, and I will eventually just go through and like close all to write or close a whole bunch at once. That is just really nice, Let's see. Yeah, Taryn, let me know when you have that pull request open. There's no rush at all, but I'd love to review that and check that out on stream. I think that'd be pretty cool. Some nice live collaboration, So we need to add a method now that can. Let's see, we got everything committed except for the key light CTL. I'm going to build a command that can control the light from my computer because that way I won't have to use my silly phone app anymore. I don't want to install a phone app to control this light. That seems so silly. So soon we will be able to uninstall that, which is going to be quite nice. 1 sec, wiring it up. Yeah, no rush at all. I don't want to rush you. I just I'm happy to look at the code whenever you're ready. So let's see here, set lights. I think that's probably a reasonable name, right? Set lights. Oh, I didn't update the dock. Oops. Lights retrieves the current state of all lights from a key light device. I'm gonna commit that as well. Partial device. Go. Yes, no. Internal key light. Device.go. Fix client lights. Doc comment. I think something that's been very cool about streaming too is like this sort of live collaboration aspect. So for example, people can help me find, trivial problems in my code, or, Taryn did the research to figure out the Kelvin conversion on his own and then is writing up code and sending me a pull request on stream. Like, that's so cool, That's the kind of thing you're not going to have happen when you do a project all on your own. So I think the collaborative nature of this sort of thing really appeals to me. Set lights configures the state of all lights on a key light device. It also returns the existing state, but I don't understand why you would want that, considering you just sent that to there. So I feel like we're going to ignore that return value. So although it passes us JSON, we just don't care about it, so we're not going to bother. It's like a hackathon every time you stream? Yes, exactly. It's very cool. Terraform apply. I'm slowly converting my home infrastructure to code. It will take years at this rate. Yeah, Terraform is very cool. I should do more with that, but that's why I like NixOS so much, is because my infrastructure now is code, basically, which is amazing. I want to convert my Raspberry Pi to NixOS. I don't think that's been available yet for the Pi 4, I believe. So we'll get there. Lights. Light. So out of curiosity, does this send a bad request if you... So if I do, let's see here. Let's say there's a hypothetical second light on the device. What does this do? Bad request, hopefully? It just ignores it. That's no good. You can do NixOS on a Pi 3B Plus. It would have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. We'll need to try that. It's great. Definitely try NixOS. It is one of the coolest projects I've run into in the past few years, for sure. I think I have a Pi 4, so I don't think it works for me. But let's try this. Number of lights. There's probably some really silly C thing. Okay, so it just totally ignores any... That's sad. I was kind of hoping it would give me like a 400, so I could prompt the user, but I guess it's okay. Curl. So we don't need to pass the number of lights field. We can just pass lights. This code will work with seriously just that one line change, that one change pretty much. That's pretty cool. In fact, we could even factor this out a bit more if we wanted to, but I think it's probably okay. Yeah, we did a bit of a NixOS stream yesterday, actually. That was pretty fun. I was surprised to see the level of interest in that compared to my usual Go content. So I think we'll probably do more things like that, for sure. So we want to encode this to JSON and then upload it. So and we'll pass it as a bytes reader. So normally I wouldn't want to encode this into a byte slice of memory, but this is going to be a very, very small structure, so I'm just not worried about it. If this were like a file, for example, we want to post the file instead, but glad you could fix your issues with the simple reboot yesterday. Yeah, that was so annoying. So for those who weren't in the stream yesterday, I set up a couple of new VLANs essentially on my home router, and my DHCP v6 prefix delegation daemon could not find two of the devices I had set up, or it was two of the existing devices no longer worked. It was just the strangest thing, and no matter how many times I restarted it, cleared its state, whatever else, it still didn't like it. So once the stream was over, I rebooted my router, and it came up immediately. So my config was perfectly fine, just that something was broken with the daemon, which is so frustrating. So what are you going to do? So if I do this, this will work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. As you can see, it got darker in here. I'm glad I got this light. It definitely makes a big difference. So I think this function's pretty much done. Build your own router when it works. I did build my own router. It is the it's the software I'm using. One sec. So I built my own router. I did not, create the hardware, but this is my router. This is the PC Engines APU 4D4. It is a small device with an embedded AMD CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, 4 gigabit Ethernet ports, serial console, USB, mSATA. Really, really nice little board for about $170 US. What a big flex, right? Yeah, this thing is awesome. Like, I've been so happy with this as my router, and I run NixOS on this with all my daemons. It's fantastic, so would recommend. Oh, cool. Bought a mini PC on AliExpress, running pfSense on it right now. Nice. Yeah, I thought about something like pfSense or similar, but I really liked the idea of NixOS, and I'm really glad I did it that way. This structure is small enough where marshalling in memory, the whole thing in memory, is not a concern. Yep. Need to change my music really quick. What sounds good? I've been really into like video game music. Like, it's kind of nice because it's good for background, World. Where is it? OST. We'll do part 2. Oops. YouTube, JavaScript, garbage, taking over my browser. There we go. Perfect. All right, we're good to write tests for this. And then I think we will be in a state. Is it intended we can't hear any music? Yes. I have gone back and forth on streaming music and putting music on stream. I am concerned with doing it for 2 reasons. So 1, I'd have to remove it from YouTube because I don't want copyright claims. And 2, I think it can potentially be distracting or potentially turn viewers away if it's music they don't like. I would do my best to probably do like video game music, But I think the thing is if I put music on stream, then people who want to listen to their own music and also listen to me no longer can. So I think I'm probably going to stick with not doing music on stream. Like, I will listen to it locally, but it will not be streamed because that way folks can set up their own music. So I think that's my intent at the moment. I'm waiting for RPi Foundation to release a version with 2 NICs which are not connected over USB internally. That would be really nice. Yeah, for sure. I think the APU series from PC Engines use it as a router. I think the APU is really worth looking at, honestly. It's an amazing little box. It's like an amazing little board. I think it draws like 5 watts of power, and it's perfectly capable. So I would definitely recommend the PC Engine's APUs to anybody who's looking to build a router of your own. Now we're going to set lights. Set lights. So probably the way to do this is going to be to return errors. Yeah. Hey, Wildlander, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Want? Yeah, we'll take a key light on true, brightness 15, temperature 23. Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, that's still the same. Now we're going to, I think in this particular case, we can just not send JSON because we're not actually parsing it. I mean, or I could just send like empty JSON basically, right? So I could do something silly like maybe write array byte just empty. Although the key light returns the same JSON. Actually, it probably is a good idea to check this because we could compare our input against the output. So for example, if the color passes more configurations than there are lights, we probably want to return an error. So it's probably worth doing. I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be back in just a sec. All right, we're back, and I have a silly question for the chat. So let me catch up really quick. I think he's deadlocked and this function isn't ending because he's not back yet. Yeah, I locked up my Ryzen 9 3900X. Funny tweet until he returns. What's this? And then I will explain the bananas, I promise. Jason Statham. That's pretty good. I like that. So chat, I have a question for you all. Let's make a poll really quick. So if you are a banana person, I just had a banana as a quick snack. Which would you prefer out of these? So I think we're gonna need a number of categories here. So which banana? We'll say 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and 7 plus. So we'll just run this for a minute. I'm just very curious. If you had to pick, which one would you pick? I know which one I'm picking, but I want to see if there are any monsters here. Oh shoot, I kind of I actually wanted one in a different category, but so this is so silly. A stream that I watch, somebody ran this poll, and there was like a whole bunch of arguments in chat about it. Like some of the people picked like things like 1 or 2 or 7 plus, and it was pretty hilarious. So. Oh, I think I disabled the Twitch polls for me with FFZ. Feels bad, man. So we got this is a few more seconds, but looking like a 50-50 split about, okay. Feels bad, man. And we're winding down. 7 is the sweetest, 4 looks the least disgusting. I would choose 4. Okay. So it looks like 5 to 6 wins. So maybe I didn't do these categories very well. I think for me, I'm probably a 4.5. So some of the bananas I have right now are probably a 4.5, more bordering on like a 5. I think that's about perfect. But there are some people who will eat them at like a 3, and I don't understand that. Like, why would you do that to yourself? So just a silly little thing. But it looks like chat's favorite is 5 to 6, followed by 3 to 4. Nobody voted from 1 to 2 or 7 plus, thankfully. So is this for banana sword play? No, not at all. I gotta close these. All right, there we go. 3 is too raw, and maybe 6, maybe too much. Yeah, totally, I agree. Anyway, just a silly little thing really quick. I buy number 3 so it doesn't go bad too fast. Yeah, totally. I think number 3 is usually where I buy 2, but then I have to let them sit for a week, and then I have to eat them all within like a day. 6 is fine to fry in a pan with honey. That sounds great, actually. Huh. By the way, we do have channel point rewards, so folks in chat are able to suggest polls as they would like. If you have like any Go opinions you want to share or whatever else, feel free. Serve with ice cream. That does sound really good, actually. I could go for a banana split. It's like, I think today it's like 80 Fahrenheit here in Michigan. I have no idea this in Celsius, like maybe 30 Celsius, something like that. It's pretty hot, but it's going to get a lot hotter. Yesterday it was super warm, but... yeah, so actually what we want to do here is we want to return the same JSON that was passed to us, so... Oh boy. Can't do ice cream, that's sad. Ice cream's good. What's really good though is frozen yogurt. That stuff is amazing. So we want to unmarshal the... So we need to decode the body. 80F is 26C. Oh, I was pretty close. Okay. I was totally guessing. I apologize. I am an American to my very core. Strawberry sorbet wins. Oh, sorbet sounds so good. You're killing me. I don't have anything like that at the house right now. Failed to decode JSON. Followed by vanilla ice cream with maple syrup. Really? I don't think I've ever done maple syrup on ice cream, but I bet it would be good. -30 divided by 2 should be close enough. Interesting. Okay. So we'll unpack the body. It's going to be these key lights we would expect. We want to verify that... the same number is returned as is passed. So I think this is going to be an error case. Test set lights error. We're probably going to want to refactor this into a table-driven test, actually. Okay. Shoot. Not what I wanted. Where T is a testing T. I really enjoy watching your streams. There's so much to learn. Thanks so much. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. You know, it's interesting because things that might seem, you know, I've done this sort of thing like a lot of times before, like the HTTP client. So a lot of this is review for me, but I am happy to share my thought process. And also, you know, we can all learn together, right? There are folks here who've probably never seen Go before. So I'm showing them some of Go, some of what I know, things I've learned. Happy to help out. So I'm glad you all appreciate it. Thanks so much for hanging out. So we wanted to return an error here in the case where the device sends back a different number of lights. So it's my best couch activity. Yeah, you know, I really like Twitch streams for couch activities too. I watch a lot of Mario streamers like Kaizo Mario. It's pretty fun. I think we're going to factor this out into a type lights body. Lights body is the container, JSON container for JSON API container for light information. Thanks to Twitch, the TV mounted above the PC has a purpose. That's nice. You know, it's kind of funny because I actually have, I've got space like where I could potentially have like a TV mounted above or something, or I could put like a fourth monitor just for that. What I usually have is I'll have a Twitch over here on one of my displays because I have 3 displays. So one sec. Does this command still work? Specs. Awesome. Yeah, so if you check out that post, you can see exactly all the gear I'm using. The only new thing is the key light, I believe, but everything else should be up to date. I watch streams while I am coding. Guess I'm addicted to background noise. Yeah, totally. I think it's great to have some kind of background noise going on, you know? And the cool thing about Twitch is that you can pay attention and you can totally ignore it, you know? But I appreciate you all for hanging out. Whether or not you're paying attention, that's okay. No big deal either way. Lights. We can just do this inline, even. Okay. I always wonder what kind of food is in Finland. I've only been to a couple places in Europe. I've been to Denmark for KubeCon. I've been to the UK, London. Is that it? Yeah, I was going to go to Berlin for GopherCon Europe, but then I got canceled or moved online. I am speaking at GopherCon Europe, assuming it's still happening. I am preparing a talk on my Sched group package, so that should be pretty fun. Bad number of lights. We're going to want to factor this out just a little bit. Why don't you use RSS feed in your blog? I do not, because it is a Hugo static site. So perhaps there's a way to do that with Hugo. I don't actually know. But my site is static. It's all generated with Hugo. So if there's a way to do RSS with Hugo, I'd love to see it. You know, let me know. But that being said, if you follow me on Twitter, I do announce pretty much everything I post on there. But the thing is that I don't blog that often. There is indeed. Oh, good to know. Okay. Yeah, please send me links. I appreciate it. RSS is XML. I'm sure you can reduce that statically. Yeah, but what if I don't want to write XML? You know, actually, I guess I could write like a Go generator program, but that wouldn't be that hard. I could do it. Finland has 53.2 metal bands per 100,000 people, apparently. That's awesome. Very cool. RSS died when Google quit their reader, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't really use RSS anymore, but go Hugo RSS. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I am happy to create RSS for things like that then. Especially if it's a lot easier and I don't have to like code it myself. I don't think it'd be that hard, but... So we're going to pass 2 lights because we want to return an error. So let's see here. We don't actually want to return the lights to the caller though, so it's key light. So we're going to factor this out. This light doesn't actually exist and should prompt the client to return an error. So I guess the tricky thing is here is that I don't want to have to like pull the number of lights every single time either. So I guess what will happen is we'll apply this to the light. It will take the configuration and just ignore the rest, which is what it does, and then we'll return an error in our code. So, oh, still using RSS heavily on the iPad with the Fiery app. It is great. Interesting. Okay, I really should get a tablet. I kind of miss having something like that. Sitting on the couch, it'd be great. Or for things like watching Twitch when the TV's in use. So we need input lights. We need an HTTP handler function. So handler func. Yep. Lights, yes. Unpack the body. This is not going to be a handler func. This is going to be a function that examines the input. How do I want to do this? Denmark is one of those oddball countries where things are more expensive than Finland. Yeah, when I was over there like buying a beer, they're like, oh, it's like, I don't remember anymore. It was like, oh, 600 krona. And I had to do like I think it was like divide by 12 or something was roughly the American price. I don't exactly remember, but I know there were certain beers I wanted to like try that were like crazy expensive. But it was pretty funny. Project structure and naming are probably the end boss of Go. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if I've written it up. I would say that probably my thoughts are whatever Peter Borgen and Ben Johnson think. So if I go to, hang on a sec, Ben B. Johnson, medium. Ben Johnson is one of my personal heroes in the Go community. So pretty much anything that Ben has written is worth reading. He has, let's see here, and turn the music down just a little bit in my headphones. One sec. Ben has an article called Standard Package Layout, which is pretty good, as well as Structuring Tests in Go, Structuring Applications in Go. These are all amazing articles. Everything Ben pretty much has ever written, I think, is valuable. Go read those. And Peter Borgen is another one that I refer to a lot. So Peter Borgen, Industrial Go. Go for Industrial Programming. This is a great article as well. I'm not exactly sure if this relates to layout or not, but this has some of the philosophies that I follow with my Go code. Maybe I should add those to my Go command, actually. So let me check my Nightbot commands really quick. These are things I find myself linking to people all the time. So yeah, I'll add those to the command. This will give folks some links. Let's see here. I think all of these things are worth reading. Submit. And go. There you go. I think pretty much everything in there is worth reading. As far as like going from beginner resources to more advanced resources, I agree with pretty much everything mentioned in those places. Sorry, that's kind of like a half answer, but I found Dave's workshop notes pretty read-worthy. Yeah, totally. Dave is great. This is going to be the same every time. Except we're just going to trim, always trim if there's more than one light. only return a single light to the caller to mimic the behavior of the key light when you attempt to configure multiple lights which may not exist. Thanks for the links. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help out. So v lights equals v lights up through. This is gonna be one of those off by ones, isn't it? I think that's right. Up through 1? Yeah, I think that's correct. So, and then we encode the response back. New encoder. W. Encode V. Yes, perfect. So now we set lights. And then we will also probably have an error checking function. Yeah, I'll see if I can set up RSS for Hugo. Maybe I can set it up for... I have my blog posts, I've got my talks, my conference talks. I could do it for both, probably. Test set lights. Hey, Blue Jean, awesome. Thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate that. That is amazing. I am not worthy. Soon you will have emotes, I hope. Probably within... Well, so I submitted the emotes to Twitch on Thursday, Friday. I guess apparently there's usually like a 4 to 5 day turnaround. We've got some pretty silly emotes coming. So I guess I could just show you all really quick. The Go team should have hosted streams like this a while ago. Yeah, totally. That would have been great. Where is my... There we go. So coming soon on twitch.tv/mdlayer, we're going to have some very silly emotes. So, ta-da. So the first two are crossed off, but we're going to have the error not equals nil, you know, because this is Go. We've got my own little gopher, and we've got the Linux penguin. So these are going to be the emotes you're going to have for now. I've got a friend who's an artist. She's going to make some, but I thought it would be pretty funny if I hand drew something silly to keep around for a while. So we're going to have emotes. They're not going to be great, but they'll be funny. So I'm excited. Test client set lights. But yes, I'm working on it. And you know what's amazing, actually? So my prefix for emotes is MDLAYH. Hey, Arno FPS, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate that as well. Wow. Thank you. Need those emotes? Heck yeah. So, for example, the error emote will be MD Layer. So my name is MD Layer, or Matt Layer, and it actually flows in perfectly with error. So that's going to be the name of the error check emote. So I'm actually really excited about that. It's just one of those like silly things, you know? Light. Yeah, thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. I do not expect it. It will never be a requirement to, you know, to be here, to participate or anything, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Bad number of lights, and then okay. Elgato lights. Oh, we should be checking the HTTP verb, shouldn't we? Yeah, that's my bad. HTTP method get. Unexpected HTTP method. So this has to be a get. Get versus get. I'm pretty sure I just said this has to be a get. Get pull. This is also a get. This is going to be a put. And we finally... These tests need to have all get as well, I think. Oh no, these tests are... It's fine. Anyway. Yeah, so as far as the emotes go, I think right now I only have one slot for each tier. So I believe the error check emote is going to be my tier 1, the gopher for tier 2, and the penguin for the tux for tier 3. But that being said, I don't intend to like seriously make people do that. So whenever I get more emote slots, I will move them down. So the bigger we grow the stream, the more emote slots I get, I will continue moving them down to lower tiers. So Yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you to the folks who subscribe. I have 14 subscribers, which is about, I would say 14 more than I expected to have. So that's very cool. Thank you all so much. Put lights, trim. Yeah, okay. So set lights. If error is not equal to nil. We want to check we want like a check function as well, right? Didn't I talk about that? Yeah, we do. So check this. We want this. Copy paste. Copy paste. So we're going to inspect the error. Oh, we actually want to copy more logic as well. I apologize. There we go. Hype train incoming. Are you serious? We have a hype train right now? That's so silly. Lithium, thank you so much for the tier 1 gift sub to Jonesku. I appreciate that. A limited time to learn exclusive emotes. Wow. A hype train in a programming chat. That's silly. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. It's awfully kind of you. So, thank you. This needs to go down here. Yep. We need more good programming streams, and so said Just for Funk died. Yeah, totally. I actually did. Lithium, thank you so much for the gift sub to Emrican Body. I hope I said that right. I apologize. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Lithium. Hive. Yeah, so it's funny. When Francesc announced that he was looking for more folks to participate in Just for Funk, I actually did apply. I said, hey, I'm kind of interested in doing this thing. And of course, I don't remember when that was. I think it was maybe a year ago at this point, So it took me this long to kind of get my own Twitch stream going. But I work on competing software. I'm just trying to slow him down. Yeah, Francesc is... I really enjoyed Just for Funk as well. I think there's definitely room for more things like this, So if you're interested in doing this sort of thing, I recommend giving it a try. It's been a lot of fun for me. Yeah, we want to check the error for something along the lines of incorrect number of lights. We want to compare just the length. Yeah, right? I mean, I think that's probably fine. So, var body, lights body. So when you issue a put to the lights, they will send you back the status. And I think probably what I want to do here is unpack this in such a way that we verify the number of lights against our input. Oh, heck yeah. I like Just for Funk, but the lack of depth is an issue with programming streams. Sure. I like how I can ask questions to get sent to look at things like Jeff's reports and whatnot. Yeah, I hope I'm trying to do my best to cover things in depth as much as I can. So today, I'd say writing an HTTP client is not a super advanced thing in Go. But a couple weeks ago we did the thing with WireGuard Control Go for OpenBSD, which was crazy unsafe pointer stuff. So I hope to have a variety of content available. But if there are things you'd like to see, please do let me know. I'm happy to at least take them into consideration, if nothing else, But that being said, I am more interested in working on projects that things that I want to use for myself. Oh, you probably did already, but could you show the device again? Things that you were working with. So are you talking about the key light or the launch pad? So the key light is up above me, so I can't show you, but the launch pad, I can show you this. Let's do that again. It's been a little while. What do I need to open up here? Yeah, no problem at all. Happy to help out. Command flight deck. Dot. So the goal is to take this launch pad. So right now we're at the point where we can retrieve inputs and send outputs. So each of these inputs triggers an output to the device where we light different keys on the screen. And then they eventually disappear over time too. So what this is going to do is whenever you press a button, it will do things like adjust the key light. That is the goal. So I think we're pretty close to that, actually. Once we get this method tested, we're going to hook that up, and it should work just fine, in theory. So I'm pretty excited about that. It'll be the first, useful thing Flight Deck can actually do. need to clean my desk a little bit. Wow. Oh yeah, I'm always happy to show stuff off. No problem at all. The thing is with Twitch is you have no idea like if folks have been in the stream for hours or 10 minutes. So not a problem. Body. Oh, right. Okay, I still need to work on this. So now we will do a comparison. Were you really? I was here when you deleted the VOD of your first stream. Yeah, I was embarrassed. I ended up being on stream for like 10 minutes talking with no audio. I only had one working OBS scene, and the OBS preview window did not work, so I couldn't change scenes or anything. The whole thing was just kind of a mess. I think there was like some okay content in there, but I was just a little embarrassed. I didn't feel like it really represented me or the image I want to portray. So we've learned a lot. I think things have been a lot better since then. But yeah, that's funny. So you're a real OG, if you will. If len body lights does not equal the number of lights we passed in, return format error F. Key light. Attempted to configure %d lights, but only %d are present. Hype train success. I have received a level 1 hype train emote. That's so silly. Enjoy your hype train emotes. Let's see here. Len body lights. Len lights. Like I said, hype train in a programming stream. That's something. Some of my streamers call it the scam train because it just encourages people to give gift subs and stuff. But the device will ignore configuration for any lights which do not exist, but we treat this as an error because the caller should only attempt to configure the choo-choo. Only attempt to configure the number of lights present on the device. Nice. I think this is a reasonable sanity check, right? Like, it's informing you that something you're doing is not having the result you might expect. So how did you wrap it? Sorry, how did I wrap what? The error? So there is no error at the moment. Like, I'm actually creating one myself, so I'm not exporting this in any way. Oh, yeah, no, so actually, this is, so check this out. So if I do something like this, so there's an extension in VS Code called, I'll show it in a sec, but if I press Alt-Q, it does that for me, which is amazing. So instead of manually wrapping now, I'm trying to get in the habit of not. There's the extension is called rewrap. So rewrap by STKB. This is for VS Code. This will allow you to reformat your comments and reflow them automatically, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I just discovered that. I apologize. I forget who mentioned it, but somebody mentioned it on stream yesterday, 2 days ago. And I appreciate it. So thank you so much. Put lights. Yep. Body. Yep. Okay. So now we're probably in a place where we can run the test. Missing arguments. Right, we got to pass in the lights we want. So TT lights. Yep. Hey, panic. Okay, cool. 174. There is no check function, right? Wait, why? What's going on here? I want to invert this logic, I think. Turn. Love rerep. Yeah, me too. It's great. This is actually new to me because like I spent so much time like reflowing comments, but is anyone keeping a dev diary or sort of? So there was one point where I was experimenting with like writing notes in a like writing notes down. That was weird. We just lost some frames, I think, but rendering lag, huh? There was one point where I had a notebook where I was like writing down ideas and things like when I wasn't coding. I find that it is hard for me to kind of visualize things unless I'm at a computer like playing with it. So for example, I was working with Michael Stoppenberg in a pair programming stream, and he prefers kind of like the TDD approach of writing tests first. I don't like that. Like for me, that doesn't really work. I have to kind of build an API and play with it and see what kind of structure I want before I can figure out what I'm happy with. So I always end up being not disciplined enough. Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, I just don't think it's for me. That's okay, you know. If error equals nil, and TT check equals nil. Error not equals nil. Trader X, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I tried the past, probably don't get a whole lot of value from it. Drawing things is super useful for me, though. Yes, totally. You know, it's kind of interesting. So my friend Jordan on Twitch as Large Data Bank, he also does Go programming for Cockroach TV, which is very cool. So Jordan has some kind of setup with his iPad where he's able to do like an on-screen whiteboard, which I think is amazing, and I would love something like that. So perhaps I will look into that. TDD works exactly if you know what you need to build, basically when you have a good user story. It doesn't work when you play on your own project's IMO. I think I would agree with that. But even for me, like even when I have like a user story at work or something, I find that I just have to play around first and see what feels right. I'm pretty good at writing APIs that are easy to test, so I don't feel like I really need TDD, but who knows? Oatfish, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Aw app is cool for drawing. Cool tool for drawing. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. I run Linux, if that matters, so I'm not sure if something works on Linux. That'd be good to know. But I think I need more of an input device, right? Because I can't really draw with my my trackball. That's a little hard. Oops. You never know exactly what to build, though. Yes, that is true, and that is my general concern with TDD as well. Why is this panicking still? 174. True, but that's where TDD is handy. You build your first iteration, then you can refactor without breaking the functionality. That is true. That's a good point. I tend to, what I will usually do is like create like a rough sketch of an API and then write some tests and then clean things up. But I do that more for like optimization. I don't understand why this is panicking. I think this is one of those things where I've got like stream brain where I'm reading chat and not really paying attention to my code. One sec. Default. So this is panicking on the OK case. Okay. Unexpected method. I see. Put. Right? We got multiple panics going on here. Okay. One sec. Am I passing the wrong method? Am I calling the wrong code again? Right? Check is nil. No. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I just don't understand like I need to get my mental state around this back. What am I doing wrong? I expect to put, but I'm getting a get? Am I not reading the method? I might have it hard-coded, actually. I do. Shoot. There's a bug. That's why we write tests. Yep. Was that the issue? Yes, that was the issue, it looks like. So that was somehow triggering another issue? I don't know, that was strange. Sorry, I don't think I have a project command set up. I should, though. So right now, if you do flightdeck, that's the command I have. A bit paranoid about installing any VS Code extensions. I thought rewrap is built in. While cool, I won't install unless I can trust the author. I can understand that. I probably should set up a project command, right? That's probably a pretty common thing on programming streams. So I guess what I will do is I will set it up as an alias for flightdeck right now. Project. Let's see here. Okay, I think project will work now. Project. Hello, Nightbot? Hello? Maybe not. Oh, I think maybe hold on. I'll have to look at that later. Nightbot wrecked. Yeah, for real. Nightbot got a Nightbot, I guess. Cool. So now we get the error message back. Attempted to configure %d. Yeah. The check function should look at probably substring comparison again. Sweet. Thanks, Taryn. I appreciate that. I don't know why. I thought Nightbot could do aliases, but I perhaps don't understand that functionality. So this is saying how many? Not only, but %d are present. Tends to configure 2 lights, but only 1 are present. I guess that's fine. I don't really want to care for R is. Thanks, this is helpful. Yeah, no problem. Error did not mention malformed lights input, right? Something like that. That's probably fine. Tends to configure 1 lights, but 2 are, I think I got that mixed up in the... Attempted to configure input, output. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Great. So, okay, I think we're at the point now. Hang on, Taryn, did you ever do the Kelvin code? Is that ready to go? Sweet, 6 minutes ago. Awesome. Thank you, Taryn. Marshall temp. Okay. Do we want this exported though? 3,400. Nice. Yeah, the thing is, I don't think we want these methods exported though, and I think or these functions exported, and I think they could probably go into the same file. Like right now we're all just working the device file, so I guess I'll mention both those things on here. Export both, and these can live in device.go. I think convert is probably, convert's probably more obvious. When I think of Marshall, I think of things like JSON. So, and let's go with convert as mentioned in chat. Oh, I see. It's trying to touch the same file you're editing on stream. I see. Okay. If you add them to like the very bottom of the file, I think that'll be fine. Yeah. So add them underneath do. I think will be fine. I'll go ahead and leave this feedback, but thank you for doing that. Live device got to go at the bottom of the file, and let's go with convert as mentioned in the chat. Cool. Yeah, looks good to me. So as far as these functions go, I wonder if it would make sense just to have the same, maybe just include all these cases like in one function. So you do Marshall and unmarshall in the same function, right? I feel like it's probably simple enough where it's okay. How about combining both tests? So we do a round trip conversion for each case. You can add the cases from below to this function's table. Yeah, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Okay. 3 hours and 40 minutes. Going for a while. Yeah, I think we're at the point now where we can actually write code and make sure this can talk to my device. It's kind of funny because I think that, working on stream definitely like slows me down some, but I guess it's not even the worst thing because I have to talk through my thought process and reconsider things. So I don't really mind that much. All right. Key light. Add client set lights method. Okay. So I think probably what we'll do is we'll fetch the state of the lights in flight deck and then modify them. So we got a bunch of code here. We talked about this a couple streams ago. I don't think I'm going to go too far into it today, but yeah, every time we get an event, we're incrementing a Prometheus counter. I think we're just going to add a special case in here right now that makes it so that like XY00 like modifies the status of the light or something. So, going to start a new automation project for my reptiles might be a good chance to actually learn some Go, since I've heard it's got some good web capabilities. Any resources for getting started? Yes, actually. One sec. Go. There you go. So in order there, the Go tour is helpful for getting your feet wet with the syntax and stuff. The Go programming language book is an excellent read. And those couple of blogs provide some info on like more advanced topics, like things like how you structure your applications, use of global variables, package level state, etc. I recommend starting with probably the first two links and get a little bit familiar with them, and then check out the blogs I mentioned as well. So I hope that's helpful. So we're going to hard code this for now. This is lazy. Yeah, no problem at all. I'm happy to help. I think it's cool how many people come in here that have never seen Go before, because I figured a lot of my audience would be Go people, but it turns out to be not the case as much. If you've coded in other C-like languages in the past, it's a breeze, which is awesome. Yes, totally. It is very, very similar to lots of those. To do refactor out. All right, just one more sec. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, sorry about that. Didn't Ken Thompson work on it? Yes, he did. He worked on the compiler as well as input on the design. Wow. Initial input on the design. It's been a long day. Silly hype thing, right? Yes, Ken Thompson was the original author of the compiler. So the Go compiler was written in C until Go 1.5. So if you want to bootstrap Go from a C platform, the way you do that is you compile Go 1.4, and you can use the Go 1.4 toolchain to compile any newer version of Go, I believe. So these days, the compiler and everything is all self-hosting. It's all written in Go. But up until 1.5, it was all Ken Thompson's code, which is pretty cool. Right. Why do I think that I wanted this to... That's fine. To do refactor out. So we're going to... It was basically a modified version of the Plan 9 C compiler. Right. Yeah, lots of Plan 9 inspiration to Go for sure. So we're going to steal this. URL is hard-coded, I know. I'm sorry. we'll fix it. Return format error F. Failed to create keylight client. Probably should create that in main. Yeah. Inline assembly is still Plan 9 assembly. Yep, for sure. Oh, interesting. You might enjoy this about Ken if you haven't read it previously. I like Ken Thompson too. He actually just did an interview fairly recently. I will check this out as well. Oh yeah, his password. I remember reading that, but I'll check that out again. Thanks for dropping that link. Inline assembly is still, except it's not inline. I think you mean just like the assembly files though, right? But yeah, Go doesn't have inline assembly. For better or worse. Log fatal F. This is going to be silly. We're not going to commit it this way. I just want to make sure it works. KC for keylight client. Keylight client. Wow, I remember when the Go source had Ken and Rob folders. Really? So I didn't use Go until, I think, 1.0. I know that there were lots of folks around from before then. I didn't learn about Go until late, was it 13? I think it was 2013, like roughly September, October 2013. Because I attended the very first GopherCon. I've been to every US GopherCon ever since, which has been very cool. So we're going to fetch the current state of the lights and then apply them back with the on state inverted. So lights error colon equals KC lights. We do pass context. Nice. Sorry about that. Andrew Duran needs to stream more. Does he stream? I know he did a few streams with like Brad Fitzpatrick for the HTTP2 stuff. I did not know he still streamed, because if he does, I would love to like throw him a raid one day or something. So we fetch the existing state, and we're going to invert the Boolean. So lights for each light, for L lights, L dot on equals not L dot on. There we go. I want to see Andrew and Brad too. Yeah, their streams were great for sure. I think that I know Brad these days is busy being like a parent and everything too. So I'm not sure how much like recreational programming he still does. Andrew, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Andrew in quite a long time. KC set lights, context and lights. So what should happen, assuming all my code is correct here, we are going to press a button. I'm going to press 00 on my launch pad. It's going to turn my light on and off. So that'll be victory for today. That'll mean we did well. So failed to fetch key light state. Failed to set key light. Assuming my code is correct, that's a good one. It's got a lot of tests. I feel pretty good about it. It is amazing the confidence I generally feel in my code with Go. I've never felt it with any other language just because of like the amount of testing we can do. All this experienced Gophers, and then there's me who knows about Go since like 2018. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange to think that like I've become like pretty good at this over time, But everybody's got their specialty, right? So like I do lots of like networking things. Dominic is probably the foremost expert on static analysis in Go, which is amazing. Everybody's got their thing they do, So it's cool to find something and participate, no matter what your experience level is. Yeah, we're going to build this really quick, and we're going to see if this works. I'm always shocked how long I've been doing Go. It feels like 2 years ago. Yeah, totally. Okay. Moment of truth. This is going to be scary. Why is that? Hello? Oh, it's the terminal, right. Okay, one sec. That's annoying. I'll see if I can like fix that. Yeah. Let's give this a run and see what happens. So now when I press other buttons, things will light up. But when I press 0, 0, which I'm pretty sure is this button, check it out. What's up? Isn't that so cool? Victory! Yeah! Yeah! PogChamp! Awesome. We have officially achieved our goal for today. Alright, sweet. Holy FK or Holly FK perhaps? Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I wonder what version I started with. 1.8 I definitely use. Possibly 1.5 with progressively more use. Yeah, I think it was 1.0 for me. Maybe 1.1. I forget exactly. I'd have to go back and look. But good thing about Go is that the language itself is changing, so there's still new stuff to learn. Yes, Go root is... I think you mean Go path is no more. Modules for the win. Yeah, modules are great. I'm a fan. I guess I should log this as well, shouldn't I? Where's my logger? Oh. Should be a good citizen and use my not global logger. LL printf. Setting key light. Don't I have like an on-off thing here? Yeah, I do. Should factor this out. Oh yeah, I hated the go path thing. I didn't mind it, but I can see it had some deficiencies. On off. Boolean string. Right. My favorite is that my old code still builds. Yes, and binaries work. When I took a look at a few years old Python virtual enums, they are all broken with OpenSSL or something. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Return on. Return off. Off. E dot on. Let's see here. Turning key light %s. L dot on. NixOS has a lot of Python. Yeah, NixOS has a lot of Python. I think like the tests are written in Python and stuff, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean by has a lot of Python. My personal website uses a Ruby static site generator. I can't run it anymore. Yeah, I'm glad I use Hugo. I guess Ruby in such a wide Docker exists. Yeah, it could be. Especially as far as like the gem versions and stuff. Oh, sorry. You know, it's so funny. Like recently, I've gone out and they're like, you know, don't touch your face and all that stuff. And then as soon as I get in the car, I've got like an eyelash in my eye, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You know, which is so frustrating. Cool. So 276, huh? Ah, right. AFB. All right, gang. Well, I'm going to call that a success. I think we did pretty good. We'll work more on this. We're coming up on 4 hours now, which I think is usually about as long as I can stream without my mind just going to mush. So I think we're probably going to wrap it up. So we'll do a commit really quick. Let's see if Terran has updated this. No rush, Terran. We can do it off stream. It's not a big deal, but outdated. Nice. Okay. Devices test is currently black box. Convert to API, convert to Kelvin. Hey, the tourist. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate that. Off the bend. Hey, hi. Hello. Unfortunately, we're going to be wrapping up in probably 5-ish minutes, but we've accomplished a lot today. So check this out. I'll show it off one more time. Where'd it go? All right, you ready for this? Yeah. So now we can press a button on the launch pad, and turn the light on and off at my desk, which is great. So this is exactly the kind of thing I'd hope to accomplish today. So I feel pretty good about that. I am going to spin this off into its own package as well, for sure. Dominic H, just noticed your Twitch name is probably the same as your GitHub name. Yes, this is the Dominic Hanef who writes... Hanef? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dominic H, who writes Static Check and such. So... sequencer. This is a Novation Launchpad Mini Mark 1. So they are up to the Mark 3 now. But this is like a little MIDI controller device that I can use to run Go programs, or not run Go programs, to read inputs from Go programs and turn on lights and stuff. So, oh, it's not running right now. Yeah, it's very cool though. So this project, Flight Deck, is my attempt to build my own stream deck that is much more capable and open source. So I'm excited. This works. Let's factor out the key light address. And KC not equal to nil. I'm gonna need a config file for this thing eventually, but keylight adder flag.string. HTTP address of Elgato key light device to control flag parse. Key light adder. So if the key light address is not empty, so var kc is a key light client. So if the address is not empty, we will use it. Do that because I address. Pretty cool. I'd say this has been quite a productive day. I'm very happy about that, you know. Else, I guess we should probably log something. Log print line. No. Oh, we still have the local logger too, so ll.println. ll.valef, yep. Now Elgato key light device configured. Just for now. Optionally configure the key light support. So now, if you run this without any flags, shoot. It'll skip a, wow. No Elgato key light device configured 172. Panic. What did I do? 135? 122. Main. What did I forget? Nil pointer dereference. How? I checked for nil before we... Oh, this is Boolean. Or KC. So if KC equals nil or... Yeah. So this code is going to change a lot, but this is just like... This is the MVP, right? Right, no device configured. Yep. So now if I pass the address of my key light, which is whatever I had coded just now, key light address is HTTP 192.168.66.30. I wonder if this thing supports v6. I guess I could see, but I don't have a launchpad, but have an old phone. I also want to try Geo and Peon. I consider building a simple mobile app with buttons and connect to it via WebRTC. Yeah, that would be sweet. So I had discussed briefly with Stoppelberg. I think it would be really cool to have support for like mobile apps or like something like that with Flight Deck as well. So if that's something that you would like to build to do something like this and hook into this, that would be great. I don't have an API yet. We're still very far away, but if you are interested in that sort of thing, I would love to collaborate. So let me know. 9123, right? Mantis, thank you so much for the follow. Hey, welcome. Unfortunately, we are wrapping up the stream pretty quick here, but we got it working. So, ta-da. Oh, come on. What? No device configured. Too soon. Go build. And... suggest a poll. Uh-oh, here we go. How do I redeem these? Reward queue. Oh, okay. To wrap up the stream, generics and go, yes or no? Yeah, I'm good with... We can ask that poll. I can't just turn it into a poll automatically. That's kind of sad. I was hoping I could, but yeah. So sure. Let's do that. New poll. Do you want generics in Go? Yes, no. I think for me, I personally want generics for container types. Like, I would love to be able to build things like a trie or a binary tree or whatever else, like using statically types instead of empty interfaces. I think that is the big reason I want them. I am afraid of the complexity, but I hope that whatever solution gets presented is able to put a lot of that complexity on the writer and not the reader. Hey, Popsu, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Yes, but I'm afraid of many wrong usages. Yeah, me too. If it happens, it will be a learning experience for everybody, you know? Let's run this one more time. I think I just messed up the flags there. There we go. Yeah, it works. It works just fine. Okay, cool. I'm afraid of C++ templates. Yeah, same. All right, the poll is over. So 6-1. Yes, 6 people want generics. 1 person does not. That's fine. I think that probably... I think that I want the ability as long as they can be used in a more restrained way. Like, if people are writing code that is... they claim needs to be generic and there's no use case for it, then I'll probably fight back a lot, right? But for things like containers, I really kind of do feel that pain a little bit. Okay, I think we're probably... let's commit what we have today and probably call that a stream. So... command flightdeck, initial Elgato key light integration, and push. Alrighty, folks. Well, I think with that, we are going to wrap up the stream. We just crossed the 4-hour mark. Thanks so much. Hope to see you stream again soon. Yeah, totally. Probably next weekend. I don't think I'm going to be streaming during the week very much because it's just good to take breaks at night, especially. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. This has been a blast. One more time. Let's go to the let's run the command. 1 sec. Ooh, that's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, of course. Thank you all so much for hanging out. This has been a blast. So I really appreciate it. Let's see if there's anybody we can send a raid really quick. Is anybody streaming right now who I could raid? Oh, Jordan just started streaming. Heck yeah, we're gonna stream. We're gonna raid Jordan. 1 sec. Perfect. I wonder if he planned this. I guess I don't know if he just started streaming, but we're totally gonna raid him. 1 sec. So we are going to send a raid on over to Jordan, aka Large Data Bank. He is probably doing some CockroachDB Go programming, so that'll be very cool to watch, actually. So let's get that going. Any other stream recommendations? Yes, Jordan's stream. We're gonna raid that right now. So yeah, PogChamp. Too bad we don't have any emotes to raid him with, but I think I'll just spam PogChamp when I get there. So all right, let's do it. See you later. PogChamp, PogChamp, PogChamp. Later.